Welcome to episode 706 of the WCB Podcast. We're mentally cooked in a good way. We're at the tail end of our spring trade show season, and this weekend we'll be at the open season Sportsman's Expo in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin at the Kalahari Resort. So come out and see us. Thanks to everybody who came out to the other shows. They've been awesome so far. We can feel the love. I'm trying to get some announcements just quick out of the way. We're booth 823 at that show. We got new merch. We have boutique arrow wraps now available. They'll be at the show, and then they will be online at WORKINGCLASSbowhunter.com. Don't worry about that. They will be there. And then we had a limited run of goth chick wraps. I think there's one set left going into the Wisconsin show. What else? We're going to have cartel calls available at the show. The Gooner, we have a Gooner Micro, and I think we're sold out of the pot calls. We did a limited run of 25 in one style. We sold out, I believe, in Illinois. Kill Bottle will be available this weekend. If you haven't seen on social, there's a spring turkey edition label out. That's not a forever change. That's just a limited edition type label that will be available online soon. But the other bottle, I think, will still be available. I have to get all the details worked out. But we can sell it at the show. We got all the approval, the permitting, all that stuff. Ledge Rock Distillery is going to be there in our booth selling it. Working Class Bowhunter is not selling it. So if you're a narc out there listening, fuck off. Ledge Rock is going to be selling it, not Working Class Bowhunter, you narcs. You can't open the bottle at the venue. Okay. You will ruin this for us if you buy that bottle and open it at the venue. Don't fucking do that. Take it to the truck, keep it in the bag. Do not screw us over. Keep it in the bag. Don't open it at the show. As much as we want to drink it at the show, we can't. So if you're going to be around after the show and you want to go have a Kill Bottle cocktail with us somewhere, we can do that. We just can't do it at the show. We can't do it at the venue. So, but that's exciting. Just having the ability to sell bottles at the show is going to be big. So I already seen a lot of engagement. So hope to see you there this weekend. What is going on here at WCB? The shows have been awesome. We feel the love. We're gearing up for spring bear camps that are both sold out. We've been giving away Grizzly coolers at every show, and we're giving another one away at the Wisconsin show. Grizzly is the title sponsor of the WCB podcast. We've been giving away a Grizzly 45, all blacked out with a neon green WCB logo on the lid. So come out. If you spend $50 at the WCB booth, you get entered to win one of them. So that's pretty cool. What else? Big Tine is a partner of this show and has been for a long time. Frost seed and clover, borderline needs to be on your brain if you're going to be planting borderline and clover. Use code WCB2025 to get in on that. Huntworth Camo is also a partner. Vertec is the shit. We've been rocking that, but Tarna is also one of our favorites. And man, it's just good. We had Nate from Huntworth come into the studio. That episode will be out in a couple weeks, and we get talking about patterns and stuff like that. And there's going to be a Huntworth giveaway on that episode. So keep your eye out for the next couple weeks. Leupold Optics. We got some spotters. I've been rocking the new spottering scopes. I'm ready to get those out this fall and some scouting. And I'm rocking what Leupold Performance Eyewear. I don't know how to pronounce it. BECNARA. That's my favorite model of Leupold Optics. So check out Leupold. Check out their Performance Eyewear optics. It kind of is an optic you see through your eyes. Check out Leupold. Trophyline, the Nimbus saddle kit. Start thinking about what your saddle kit is going to be for the fall. I think we're going to do a build list on like what we rock here this summer. Going into the fall and what we use and how we kind of use things. We're a little more ram jam than most mobile hunters that I feel like have everything buttoned up, but Trophyline makes that pretty easy to get by. Hoyt Archery is a new partner of the WCB podcast. I'm rocking the RX9 Ultra. I'm rocking all blacked out with flow green strings. We're going to be at F6 next week, getting all our setups done. We're all rocking a variety of Hoyts and sizes and all that stuff, and we're going to do some build videos, show you what we're shooting and why. But I shot the RX9 Ultra down in Texas and killed a bunch of critters with it. Lee gets to inherit that one, and I went all blacked out with the green strings. It's a real sexy looking unit. So check out Hoyt Archery. You can use code WCB at Hoyt.com for soft goods, for merch and stuff like that. So take advantage of that code. Novix tree stands, the Raider series, the Echo, the Hilo, all fans of that. Made in USA, made here. Gotta love that. Black Ovis. So this is a dual plug. Black Ovis and Victory Archery. The Arrow ID builder. I just built a set of arrows through Black Ovis and customized them out. I did my AAE fletchings, which AAE is a new partner of WCB. I did a 4-fletch Black Ovis wraps on a RIP TKO arrow and had it shipped to my door in like fucking 5 days, ready to go. You can have your inserts glued in, everything. So if you're like, oh shit, I'm short on arrows, I need to get a build done, I got to get going, I don't have time. I know how it is packing for trips and shit like that, especially with full-time job and kids and all the bullshit. You can go Black Ovis, use code WCB, get your Victory arrows or whatever brand you prefer, and have it custom built, cut, everything ready to your door, and you can go hunting. So keep that in mind. blackovis.com, the arrow ID is the shit. It's really nice. And you can get your Victory arrows there. Dialed Archery, the Proof. That's the shit. Very proud of what those guys are doing and watching them grow. The Proof is the second version of a sight up for theirs, and they nailed it. They got it going on. Blackgate trail cameras. Aluma Trailers just had the Aluma out today. They'll be in here in a couple weeks for another podcast. Old Barn Taxidermy, DeerCast, Rogue Ridge e-bikes. I was out shredding on mine today also. AAE is a new partner. Evolution Outdoors, the Broadheads, and they have the Ibex release. And those are, we used them in Texas. We're going to use them for turkeys. The turkey wrecker head is, you need to be looking at that head. If you're looking for a good turkey broadhead, the turkey wrecker is where you need to be, and use code WCB. Rat Cub for your antler mounting options. Mountain Ops, code WCB. And that's going to do it for this week's episode and partners. I don't want to get too long-winded on you guys, even though I did. This episode was a ton of fun. Tony and Zach, the Tik Tok boys, were in. A lot of fun conversation, maybe some controversy. Just good old boys sitting in the studio having some whiskeys and having fun. And these guys were a riot, and it was just what I hoped it would be out of this episode. And I have a feeling there's going to be more episodes with these guys in the future. So let us know what you think in the comments, and hope you enjoy it. We'll see you this weekend in Wisconsin. Appreciate the support.
Hey everybody, this is Mark Drury with Drury Outdoors.
Hey all you deer hunters, this is Jimmy John.
This is Jared Mills.
Hey everybody, this is Caitlin Moss.
Hey guys, this is Jared Scheffler from Whitetail Adrenaline.
What's up guys, Josh Barks from Midwest Whitetail.
Hey, this is Nick Mutt from Bone Collector.
This is Chancey Walters.
Working Class Bow Hunter. Working Class Bow Hunter. Working Class Bow Hunter Podcast.
Working Class Bow Hunter Podcast.
WCB.
Working Class Bow Hunter. Working Class Bow Hunter. You're listening to the Working Class Bow Hunter. That's right, this is the podcast for Billy Joe Lunchbucket, the working man, just like me and you. My name's Travis T-Bone Turner from the Bone Collector. Thank you for tuning in.
Those people on that pod, those hosts are a little unhinged.
Working Class. Working Class. Working Class.
Working Class Bow Hunter.
You're listening to my buddies on Working Class Bow Hunter.
Best motherfucking podcast on the planet.
It's episode 706 of the WCB podcast. Man, we're 800's right around the corner. Kurt Geyer speaking.
Eric Hammond. Doug Schmidt.
Guest of the hour this week, Tony Washnock. Did I get your last name right?
I think you did.
Look at that.
I think you did. We changed the spelling and everything so you could do that.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Legally. Thanks for being here, man.
Man, thank y'all for having me. This is my first podcast, and
ever.
Yeah, and glad that that Zach hooked me up with you guys, and you know, I the vibe since I've been here has just been all about what I think hunting is. You know, that gravitational pull, that magnetic pull guys have to one another, and you know, I'm not a big buck hunter, man. I mean, I'm not going to claim to be, you know, the ace or whatever, and that was one of the things that when Zach mentioned it to me, I'm like, you know, it would be good if the two of us could do this together, because, you know, Zach, I really respect what it is that you're able to do. You're dialed in. I sit up in shooting houses all day on private farms, and then, you know, if I see a buck that I feel like I need to get in there on, hell, I may hunt one morning in a climber or something or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a different perspective from my end, but I really appreciate guys like you that are serious big buck hunters that would have somebody like me on.
Well, it's not about killing the deer. It's like kind of what you said. It's like, it's fun, right? Big deer are always more interesting. I've always said that, and I do believe that. But people is what makes this so much fun, which is why like WCB is the brand of, we're the brand of we. Brand of me doesn't really work. It works for a little while in hunting, but it's like we're friends, and we're the same way on here as we are out there and wherever we're at. So, but I think you're a really interesting dude, and I've been looking forward to this. And Zach Jacobi's in here too, brother. Thanks for coming back.
I'm back, baby.
So you guys, I just think there's a lot of fun conversation that can be had. Maybe some controversial conversations going to be had, but that equals fun conversation for a lot of people. Maybe not so much fun for some other people. That's fine. We're just here having a good time, and
we're just here to talk about it.
We're just here to have we're just having fun, and so I appreciate both you guys coming in. Especially, I know it's a jaunt to get here, and it takes some effort to get here, and we're not really in a city. We're in we're not in an accessible area for the most part. So we appreciate the effort you coming to us in person. It means a lot.
Well, this area is beautiful, man. It's just like I would say the northern counties that I hunt in southern Illinois, and it gave me an opportunity to go see Oakland Peterson, who is the 12-year-old with cancer that took a dream buck this year and was paid for by the Tik Tok viewers. You know, it was exclusively just people watching that made that happen. And
okay, this is a beautiful place to start this whole podcast before everyone hates us at the end. They can love us, love you at the beginning, and then they can hate us all at the end. You got to break this down because and like lay the foundation of what this is, and the whole TikTok world is a new world, especially for hunting. What are you talking about?
All right, let me just kind of take a step back. Yeah,
let's full blown. Let's start laying bricks for the foundation on how, I guess, how you came on our radar, and then all this, and why we're all here right now, whatever that means.
So a few years ago, you know, I'm cruising around on TikTok. I'm living on Table Rock Lake over in Branson, Missouri, and you know that's kind of an entertaining place, and the entertaining and hospitality industry. Old Johnny Morris is over there, so I'm watching on TikTok who's the next biggest thing. You know, what's this going to? You know, it's like real life, up to date
in hunting. You're saying,
yeah, in hunting, and I come across this kid Zach Jacobi, and he and I kind of tangle in. He's saying this deer scores this or this, and I accuse him of measuring his dick from his butthole, you know, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he shoots right back, man. And, you know, he doesn't take any shit off of me.
Yeah.
And I'm a former federal trial lawyer, you know, and I'm like, hey, man, this kid, you know, he's backing his shit up. And I respect that. And so I think I from that point forward, just kind of went, you know, I'd like to do some of that, but I don't really know anything about social media. I mean, you know, I wish people happy birthday on Facebook or whatever. But, you know, my dog looks like this, and you know, and here's this kid, you know, that people are actually learning about hunting from. That's not taking shit. I mean, he's firing back like a law school professor in the hunting community, and so.
High praise.
Yeah, so you know, I'm figuring out what my niche would be or whatever, and I get close to 10,000 followers this year, and I said, well, you know, I'm really not in this for the money. I retired for a reason. I don't want to work. You know, I never really was that good at work. It was more like, you know, just Jed Clampett of Deer Hunters. So, what am I going to do? And I put out there, okay, you know, if y'all will start watching 5 seconds of my videos in 2025, I will get a child with cancer that wants a dream buck on, you know, and we'll do a TikTok live, and I'll pay for it, you know, or y'all will pay for it. Actually, the TikTok viewers will pay for it.
Right.
And
by watching the views, that converts to money as a creator for you, and then you would use that money to pay for a hunt.
Exactly.
Yep.
And this guy texts me, he direct messages me, and he goes, man, I know you're not planning on it till next year, but my daughter's not going to make it till next year. Would you consider doing it this year? And I'm like, what do you say, man?
Yeah.
You know, I got you, brother.
Right. We're totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they come down and, you know, we do the hunt, and I just watch the father and the daughter just embrace after she gets a deer. And I mean, she threaded the needle, you know, she was all nervous about it and everything. And, so this opportunity to come up here and do this podcast, when Zach called me, I'm like, you know, that may give me an opportunity to go up there and see Oakland, which is Mike's daughter. And thank goodness I did, because I got to see that same embrace, that father-daughter embrace yesterday. Now, she's frail. I mean, it hurt her to sit up. You know, her days are few. They know these are one of the last few embraces that they get, but then they included me in that intimate, private moment. And, man, it's just, you know, it's like what an amazing opportunity to see the good and pure and wholesome side of society.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my TikTok vibe is, you know, I'm not going to make a job out of it, but I'm going to work harder if I know that some little girl or some little boy with cancer that isn't going to make it long, or that they can fulfill that dream. And to watch Oakland sit there in the chair and say, Daddy, I got a buck bigger than any that you have. You know, at least that day she had no worries and no cares and no concerns.
Yeah, wasn't thinking about what she's going through, and was, focused on the experience. That's beautiful. Good on you, dude, for doing that. That's amazing.
It is amazing.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
And, you know, if this guy hadn't got me into the TikTok thing, it never would have been an opportunity. And I appreciate y'all having somebody like me on. That means a lot to me. Just because I'm a novice at any kind of social media or whatever, and y'all are professionals. And so I kind of
calm down. We're not, but no, that's beautiful. First off, and hopefully
that's awesome.
Hopefully everything can turn around for Oakland and all that. But that's cool that you got to like get her that experience and be a part of that, and that's a beautiful thing. I don't want to skim past that for the weight of what that actually is for any means here, you know. I'm assuming her old man will probably listen to this.
Well, Mike, and I'll tell you what, he showed me around yesterday, and he's like one of y'all. I mean, he's got a wall full, just like what's in this studio. And, you know, but he's real humble about it. And, you know, he just wanted his daughter to, you know, have that experience before she, you know, she passed on, and just what wonderful people. I got to meet his grandmother, who owns the land or has passed it down and all, and just the history of all that. Got to see Wisconsin. You know, it's a dream for me to be able to travel into these areas, because, you know, growing up, I knew nothing about big deer. I mean, the big deer that I knew of were the 8 points on the Outdoor Life magazine covers at the dentist. You know, growing up in the 70s and 80s, I mean, we didn't have a lot of the technology that we have today, and so I was a novice. I remember, I was telling you earlier, I remember in college, I went hunting on some ground in South Arkansas. And, you know, I hear something rustling around in the thicket there, and, you know, and this doe pops out. I'm like, what the hell, man? Is there a pig chasing this doe, you know? And this buck comes out, and, you know, I missed him the first time with a scoped rifle at about 15 yards, but ended up getting him. And back then, you know, the deer, he was an 8 point, but I literally could fit his rack in a Crown Royal sack. But, you know, you don't tell people that shit. Back then, it was before Facebook. And so it was like, no, what, you know, how'd you do that? Oh, dude, I got an 8 point, you know.
8 points.
Yeah. So that was, you know, that was my frame of reference and everything. And to to be able to kind of get out into the areas where there really are big deer, and to see that, it's I'm not going to say it's completely overwhelming, but it is inspirational to know that such great creation is out there that I never knew existed growing up.
Right. That's cool. I love that type of conversation. And all right, so let's paint our picture to you from a WCB perspective, because I'm on TikTok through our WCB account. I have like this, I'm respecting TikTok more and more for the platform it is. One thing I will say about the hunting personalities on TikTok, and I'll just say this straight up to both your guys' faces and a lot of other people, the personalities on TikTok, they have, for some reason, that channels of personalities that have to grow on you. There's a lot of personalities I see in the hunting world on TikTok where I'm like, ugh. And then over time of giving it a chance, I'm like, all right, I get it. Like,
I get it.
Zach, admittedly, you were kind of that guy for us. And I said that to you when you came in the first. I mean, I brought it up in the last time. I said, your content makes me want to fucking get ran over by a truck. But I respected your resilience. And I've always liked you. And I think that's maybe like I see your content, but then I know Zach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, Zach's actually not like he's cool. I get it.
Yeah.
Right. And I kind of felt that way a little bit about you. I didn't really want to get hit by a truck, but I was like, what's this guy up to? Like, he's got some hot takes. So I guess a little defense mode, like what's going on with him I kind of appreciate. He just says whatever he wants to say. And he's got an opinion. I respect that. It's cool. That's most TikTok focused influencers. I hate that term, but you know what I'm saying.
You want to get hit by a Civic, not a truck.
Just get hit and hurt, but not die. That's a common thing. I'm sorry if that offends a lot of people, but it's my take.
Yeah, no offense here. I mean, quite honestly, it's like, yeah. I mean, I even see that side of TikTok.
You do,
yeah. And I'm.
Do you, Tony? Do you get what I'm saying? Kinda.
Yeah, but now let's be straight up about this. Well, I was watching your podcast with Zach, and you were talking about this Southern dude that you wanted to punch in the face.
Wait, no, was that you?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, who is this dude? Then it turns out it's me. And Zach's like, no, man, he's okay. No, he's all right.
But like, I didn't veer from your content. I consumed it, and then that's what I'm saying. Like, I say shit that's maybe a little harsh at first, but it's just my take, like, and I'm like, all right, I kind of appreciate the angles. I appreciate the angles you have, because some of the stuff, like, and I want to get into some of this, like one of the most recent ones, you're talking about Seek One, and I'm like watching it and I'm like, all right, I need to see if there's a part 2 to this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because the take is, it's a good observation of your opinion. It's not a hate thing. You say a thing and then you break down why you say the thing.
So does
that make sense? Kind of. Is that an accurate assessment? Yeah.
There's a flow to TikTok.
Okay, explain this. Yeah, because I don't know it.
You have to grab attention, and if you grab their attention, it makes them watch longer. So like, he takes his hot take, and then he breaks it down throughout the video.
Right.
And we're in the
for part 2.
Well, I don't do that. I don't know.
It's not even that.
I don't think Tony does. But it's more or less like the first 5 seconds of your video. Like,
there's the hot take.
Tony and I get paid for views, right? No one's paying us. Like, viewers are not paying us to watch our content. It's just TikTok's paying us. So I think over time we kind of figure out a way to grab attention in the first 5 seconds, get them to watch that 5 seconds, because that's what it takes to get paid. I mean, you can make a 10-minute long video. As long as everybody watches it for at least 5 seconds, you're getting paid.
Oh, okay.
So there's this like flow to it. Like, okay, you got to grab attention right away, get your hot take out right away, and then explain.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay. Because there's one thing we're bad at, and it's just a thing in our heads. We're bad at the YouTube thing. We're bad at clips, and we're bad at TikToks, because I totally get it and respect that form of content, and maybe we need to do a better job of like doing that. But I would rather produce a 2-hour show that's listenable for 2 hours than like some other podcast. This is my realm, right? The podcast realm.
Yep.
Then another podcast that just puts out a bullshit clip for 1.5 minutes, and the rest of the podcast is kind of like you can do without. You only watch it for the clip stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm more in for what we're doing than the clips, but I get it. I respect it, and it's working for you. So keep doing it. So, no hate. on that front.
Yeah, no, all love, no hate. I mean, and y'all are long form content. I mean, you're very successful, one of the most successful from what I'm seeing.
We probably do better if we leaned into the algorithm stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying? But,
yeah, well, the algorithm stuff, I mean, I think you remember back in English, you had to have the hero, you had to have the villain, and you had to have the crescendo and the resolve. Yeah. Okay, well, you have to get all that in the first 20 seconds in order to hook people.
Right.
And you know, while that is kind of a cheap way to tell a story, it also does have the dynamic, and it's analogizable to hunting. Mm-hmm. You know, there's science and art. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things, you know, one of the biggest things that people respond to with me is when I call people horn stars. And, you know, like the big deer is all they're worried about. And their entire adventure is focused on the size of the antler, and the formula to get to that size of the antler equals the amount of the experience. Mm-hmm. And so I just play on that, and I make that part of the antithesis or the villain, you know. And
I want to break the horn star thing down. We don't have to do it right now, but I want to come back to that.
Well, let's all talk about the horn star.
Because I fucking love it. It's hilarious.
That's great. I do love that.
But I think, so sorry for the TikTok community out there. I know a lot of you guys listen more when Zach's on, and especially now, Tony, when you're on. But I get it. I mean it from a stance of love. Of a lot of them are hard to take, and it takes time. And that's just my opinion. I'm harder on my opinion on the TikTok platform than anything else. And I don't know why. I think it's because we can't post hunting content on it. So it automatically makes me mad at it, you know, versus like Instagram, anything goes almost to a fault sometimes. So that's just me personally. It's not a hate on TikTok, but it's just the thing I got.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I was a hater, and then I don't know, I just watched some random live, and then like there was a lot of people talking to him. I was like, all right, I guess I could see like people engaging and
on Tony,
specifically,
no,
or just some random guy.
Weren't you just giving me shit like a couple episodes ago for being live on TikTok in the tree stand?
Oh, that's fucking gay, dude. I don't like that. But
Doug just said something strong, and
I don't like that.
Doug doesn't say those things.
You gotta do whatever you gotta do.
But I will say what I do.
But you are engaging with them, so that is kind of cool.
What I do appreciate about TikTok that I might not have at first, or didn't appreciate it, didn't understand it. But maybe I have strong opinions, right? Yeah. And I'm willing to admit when I come off those opinions and mold, like, because we're just a platform, I think, of honesty. We're just how we feel, we talk about it, but whatever. It doesn't work out good when you look back 200 episodes ago, but we're honest about when shit changes, right? It's fair.
Yeah.
I do really like how you guys are always live, and it is a community. I didn't really get it at first. Like, I thought maybe it was a little douchey at first, but I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
But I think it is cool how there's pockets. Now, like, I guess when we talked, I only see your group of the TikTok lives. I now see like 2 or 3 other groups of hunter TikTok live groups. And it didn't come across my algorithm before for whatever reason. But now I see like 2 or 3, probably 3 total big groups of people that are always live in the hunting community. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you see it the same way, if there's more or whatever, but
I'm quite honestly, I'm like, well, you call me the king of hunting TikTok, I guess, and I don't want to.
From my perspective, you are.
I don't really want to crown myself that, but I am a part of like, I guess 3 different groups of like hunting TikTok live groups. So like,
see, but if I see you in a live, I assume they're just a part of your group.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, Zach's a man.
He's a king.
He really is. He is.
TikTok king, brother.
Well, so I have my main group, which is like we call ourselves like the Nimrod group.
Yeah, I see you, Nimrod, Boutique, Madison, Dead Set, and Shooter a lot.
Yep.
And that's all I can think of right now.
This is all foreign to me because I don't have TikTok.
But I will say I have out of that.
I was like, yeah.
Out of that circle that I just named, I've had phone conversations or positive interaction with all those guys.
Yeah, and I mean, I hope you guys at least have vetted me by now, and you guys like me. I guess you keep having it back.
You're vetted.
So I'm trying.
We got raps coming from Nimrod, I think, or not Nimrod. Nimrod's bringing them from Boutique. Boutique sent the wraps with Nimrod to bring to us at Iowa Show, which will be passed.
I got a sneak peek of those.
They're sick, yeah. Yeah, they're sweet.
Yeah.
How could they not like you? You bring good whiskey, man.
I'll tell you.
I brought a bottle of Sazerac rye if anybody's interested. It's a
good segue before we keep going. Tony, for making the efforts, we got you a kill bottle of whiskey.
Oh, man. Oh, thank you.
You're going to love it.
And then we got you guys both a year membership of DeerCast Elite Plus. In my opinion, it's the best mapping tool and predictive movement tool for whitetails. And
Absolutely.
I think it's just a good thing going on. There's a social aspect to it a little bit, but the mapping and all that's beautiful. It's clean and updated and amazing. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. And
yeah, well, thank you. Thank you, DeerCast and Drury Outdoors. Hopefully see Mark at the Classic, see if he's roaming around.
He'll be around somewhere. He always walks through. So, but yeah, wanted to give that. I always forget it. I try to set it in front of me so I don't forget, and I always end up forgetting.
It's always a last minute thing.
We're 22 and some change in. I've got that done.
Get the business done.
It's winning for me. All right, let's go back to TikTok a little bit. Tony.
Yes, sir.
Where I saw the explosion of Tony on TikTok. Are we at this point? Or are we gonna get into this?
Good.
We're just going to jump right in.
We're just going to get into it.
I mean, get your knife and fork out.
Just peel the covers back here.
Put my bib on.
Yeah.
This is how I think I learned about you. I think. And this might be where my hot take started initially. Full blown.
I hope so.
Being honest.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
The one that came across my algorithm at first was the Lee Lakosky situational call out thing.
There's one before that.
Okay.
You're going to bring up CJ Alexander.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
he's examined me on this.
I know about the CJ thing, but to me in my algorithm that came after.
Okay.
I don't know how TikTok works, but how
timeline wise, CJ was before Lee, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's start with CJ. That's probably a healthier place to start.
I still get questions about you and CJ.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's start. Let's go to the back. So, but from my perspective, the Lee then CJ thing, and then it was just kind of a mix of me watching hot take videos.
Right. No, I get it. So your perspective is coming from the king of hunting.
Yes.
And you know, that kind of kissing the ring in terms of you know who they and let's be honest, you know, Lakosky is the man. I mean,
he's one of the whitetail greats.
Yeah, he's one of the ones that brought in, you know, females, and I mean, who didn't want to watch Tiffany shoot her bow?
Getting close,
back in early
trying to get close.
What's up? Dude, he and Tiffany are one of the few I remember before they got married in his show. I don't remember what it was called. So all love, no hate on that. But as far as the CJ Alexander thing, I stepped in some shit on that, and I'm going to own up to it. So CJ goes and he kills this deer in Ohio, and he's on this hunter podcast, and I'm watching this, and I see some of the takes, and I'm like, you know, if I was going to defend this dude, I mean, he has the right to innocent till proven guilty. And if I'm going to defend this dude, I'm going to look at the evidence for what it is. And I start looking, and he's saying that, you know, the district attorney is one of the owners of the ground next to where he killed this, or that where they had a photograph of this deer.
So if you guys don't know, Tony's has personal conversations with he's in contact with CJ.
And then we need to back up your law background a little bit here, I think.
Yeah,
maybe
share that.
Maybe we should talk about that real quick.
Okay, multi-state trial lawyer from 96 until 2015 or 2016. That 20 years, Florida, Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas federal courts. And so, yeah, you know, I looked at the Alexander thing, and I'm like, okay, this kid, his story is not matching up 100%, but he says he had no phone with him, and he says that what was the other thing that basically he's got a motive on behalf of the state to prosecute him, because here's this record deer that was photographed on the prosecutor's land. And I'm like, you know, I don't really care if he poached the deer or not. What I care about is is there proof against this kid? And I don't think there is. I mean, of course, I contacted him before I took a step out to collect money on his behalf or whatever, and he convinced me that, in fact, he did not have his phone on him. He gives all the right answers. He deals with Jared and Jeremy on the Hunter podcast. And I talked to Jared and Jeremy, and that's how the Lakosky thing came up, actually. So I'm like, okay, even if he did poach the deer, which we all know happens an awful lot.
It happens a lot, yeah. Unfortunately.
Is there proof against this kid? Because he's fixing to have his nuts cut.
Yeah.
I mean, this is fixing to be serious over a big deer. And so I went out and a buddy of mine, Jason Belandi, we started raising money for this raffle for a gator hunt. And as it turns out, CJ not only was lying about poaching the deer, but he was lying about where his phone was and just everything. He was climbing a tree to lie when standing on the ground and telling the truth would have done him so much better. So what I ended up doing is I just pulled out my checkbook and I reimbursed everybody that had donated. And I'd already paid his lawyer for his legal defense, believing that this kid was just this, poor kid that was just getting railroaded by this crooked system. And I was a fucking idiot, man. I told you, I'll tell you, I practiced law a lot, but I didn't say I was any good at it.
Well, from your perspective, like, you're trying to help out what you thought at the time was a guy that was getting drugged down by the system. Yeah. You thought you were doing the right thing, and he convinced you of that. And I mean, that's the way it was. And then you did the right thing, right? When at the end of the day, you reimburse people's money who wanted a reimbursement. And
yeah, that's honest. I love the honesty. Honesty is stay real. That's the biggest thing. So I had some hot takes on the CJ thing, but I didn't get too into it. I didn't listen to the Hunter podcast. I listened to segments of it. And there's parts I remember, I would have questioned him way different on that stuff. I feel like if he would have came in here, he would have left being real nervous. I bet you if we would have interviewed CJ initially, like how Hunter did, and I like the Hunter guys. They're great. Their show's great. Mm-hmm. They're a different style than us, which is perfect. I think he probably would have left our studio going, hey, I don't want you to air that.
I agree with that.
I'm not saying how I would have done it because I don't know, but I'm betting he would have left here going, hey, I'm uncomfortable. Can we not air this for a while? Or I think he would have tried to delay it.
Yeah.
That's how because I don't know.
You'd have got down to the nut cut.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. But, and I agree, and I appreciate that about you. I wouldn't come on here with knowing that you wanted to punch me in the face if I didn't feel like you weren't just.
There it is again. I got second time. Ding, ding, ding.
I get one more. I got one more token. Yeah. We're gonna be friends for the rest of our lives, but totally. I get one more freaking token.
We're on the same wavelength. I can feel it. Yeah.
I got you.
But I can't guarantee that. But I feel that's how it would have gone. We've had people come in here and try and challenge us on shit, and they end up pacing around up and down by the bar over here and never hear from them again.
Oh, I love that.
And it's not that was our mission. It's, what?
You're just trying to be bluntly honest about
well, right.
A lot of people aren't that way.
Skim over things.
Yeah, we had a guy come in that was so adamant about telling us how hunting on the internet was wrong.
Oh, God.
And he left. It's kind of weird. I don't know. But, it's whatever.
Well, I mean,
that's a conversation for another time probably. But
well, I mean, he had already tried to do the social media at that point.
So
and then
weird.
he just complete 360 and just go the opposite, or 180 and go the opposite way.
It kind of just exposed himself as a hypocrite a little bit.
He just jumping on a bandwagon.
Yeah, but I feel like if CJ would have been in here, I mean, maybe not.
You never know.
I think he would have.
Yeah, right. I think so.
Knowing you a little more personally, and just the last couple of years, I think you'd called out the bullshit. There's stuff that in the Hunter podcast that I even was like,
why didn't they catch that?
If we heard something weird, we'd probably
2023, who's not carrying their phone with them while they're in the tree stand?
A poacher, but in 2024, how are they going to prove you poached that fucking deer without your phone?
Exactly.
Right.
True.
Well, I mean, supposedly.
So he did have his phone on him the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, this son of a bitch.
Oh, there was.
When he went on the Hunter podcast, he knew that they not only had his phone or that his phone was on him, that he was texting his brother or his friend and his sister, and that there was evidence cooking his ass in the possession of the prosecutor when he was on the Hunter podcast. In other words, they had already come in with a warrant, taken all that shit, and then he goes on the Hunter podcast.
Why the fuck would you still go on the podcast?
Drugs. I mean, that
what kind of drugs? I'm trying to get me some of them.
Confidence booster.
Bluntly, opiates. They give you those endorphins. And I don't know CJ that well. He didn't confess any addictions to me, and he's sitting in the pokey now, I believe. So, maybe he's cleaning up from that. But if you know you have certain knowledge that your ass is cooked and that day's coming, the only way that I know of to get endorphins, and I mean, I've dealt with people through my life, and either they're insane or they're high. A lot of times to get those endorphins, they're emotionally unresponsive to reality. And that's what this kid was. People call it narcissistic. People call it, a lot of different things that he's just not dialed in. But the dude just, he was out there, man. He was a trip to talk to because he was very convincing. And the reality of it was straight up lying. I mean, just absolute straight up lying to your face. And
was he like articulate?
Yeah.
I guess I should listen to that podcast just to know, but that surprises me that he was.
Did he think he still didn't do anything wrong?
I can't get into the psychology of his own stuff, but I'm going to say this. He would address the unspoken issues, even like he was analyzing my question and my next question and addressing them from like a third party perspective. Like he's outside his, oh man.
Do you think he was intelligently, that's like an intelligent way to go about a conversation. But do you think he had just thought about the lie so much that he had thought about,
had it ready?
Dude,
had it ready. Thought about your takes.
This kid is the Ted Bundy of
he's fucking crazy to say.
Yeah, no,
that's crazy to say.
But I get it when you say that. I get it.
If he did not get caught, you were going to see deer after deer after deer that this guy had poached and pawned off and sold the story for. He was just that fucking crazy. Really. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So that got you were doing TikToks about that.
Oh, I was defending the shit out of him. I mean, I was defending not so much him personally, but he convinced me enough to obviously invest my own money and ask my friends to invest their own money to try to help this kid. And again, it wasn't, did he kill the deer and drag it back to someplace? I didn't give a shit. It was, did they have the proof to throw this guy, under the prison for something that, hell, we've all done at a young age, or we've all wanted to do at a young age.
Yeah, everybody does dumb shit for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. That's I can't I mean, I believe you, right? I'm not saying I don't believe you, but to me it's like, fuck, I guess I should have looked into the CJ thing a little further.
Right. I don't know a lot about it as much as I should.
I probably should have did more research.
I guess my take is like, I'm cooked from those type of stories. 10 years in the industry is long enough to be cooked on those types of stories.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you smell the bullshit a mile away.
Yeah,
for sure did.
We got a pretty, people get through the wall. There's been a few, I dare somebody to get through our fucking wall now. But we've had some bullshitters get through the wall at WCB, and then we got to explain our shit afterwards. Because we're so honest that it's like, what happened to so-and-so? It's like, well, here's what fucking happened. But I guess it's there and then it's gone because we just address it.
Just drifting snow.
Yeah, right. And then name it, Clint Casper was the latest one who fucking was a homie forever and just full blown took advantage of us. And then we were just like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, and we had to cut ties with them, and whatever it is what it is. And I'll just talk about it right how I am because it's just what it was. So there's a beauty in being honest about things, and then there's an annoyance with being honest about things. The good thing about being honest about everything, it's the drama's here and gone because you addressed it and you didn't put it off. The more you lie about shit and put it off and angle around it and try and do this, the longer it becomes a thing and it makes you look dumber in the long term. When you just be like, hey, we fucked up. I don't know. The guy fucking got us.
Yeah.
We were bamboozled.
Got us good.
We were bamboozled. Right. And on to the next one. Fuck him. Kind of probably what you did with CJ, It's bamboozled me.
What I'm getting out of what y'all are explaining to me now is something that I had to rely on as a dumb lawyer in, the legal system. I fucked up a lot. Yeah. And I never fucked up that couldn't be remedied as long as I admit I fucked up.
Right.
And so, and Zach called me out on it. I mean, I was poking fun at the law in Iowa for their season and not letting people, I think it was the federal, they would something like that. And
Zach, federal land in the state of Iowa, which is like very, 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 very minuscule.
Right. Publicly.
So Tony's angle was federal land, anybody should be able to hunt it, right? Mm-hmm. Even though it's in a state that's a draw state.
Non-resident or not.
Correct.
Resident or non-resident.
Any federal resident in the United States should be able to hunt federal land. And I said, okay,
hot take.
Well,
that's a fun take.
90% of the federal land in the state of Iowa is
I love how Tony gives me that.
Is Indian reservations, and not even residents can hunt, a non-native. Yeah,
but could we? I'm just kidding. No,
tax dollars.
CJ, what are you doing over there?
Hold on. I just got a second wind. Let's talk about some shit.
Break out the sunglasses.
Yeah. The pop filter comes off. Things starts getting weird. Sorry.
Yeah, the thing was though, I say all this shit, starting fires. I know what I'm doing.
I know.
What it is, I'm up at the camp doing projects, and it just starts raining for like 10 straight days. I can't leave and go back to Florida or anything because I've got all these projects. I mean, I got like dumpsters at this farm and need to clean this shit up, and so I'm bored as hell sitting around a camp drinking moonshine.
Got to piss somebody off.
And I look on my phone one day, and there's Jacobi and saying, I'm about sick of your shit talking about Iowa law and all, and he's explaining this stuff. And I'm like, this dude set me in my place right off the bat. So, you know what, Zach, you're right. Man.
That's fine.
You're absolutely right. And I was wrong about CJ.
Yeah, but I like that you say you were wrong. The thing would be weird if you were like, yeah, but I'm not totally wrong.
What the fuck else am I going to say?
Right.
He's in the pokey. I mean, but here I am sitting on here doing this podcast with you guys. So,
but the honesty is where it's at. Like, it's just that's what it is.
That means more than anything.
Yeah. Well, imagine if it was the other way around and he was actually being railroaded and no one stuck.
You'd be a hero.
Man.
Everyone
you would have been a hero.
But here's the thing too. Like, all right. Let's get even weirder with this conversation on the honesty. This is why, like, even though everyone's like, you should have Chris Brackett on. I would love to have Chris Brackett on. I would love it. I think we could be friends with Chris Brackett. But the thing with Chris Brackett, he's not going to sit here and tell me the truth. And he's going to fucking, when we try to get it out of him, that he's going to have a fucking crying piss fit and try and file a lawsuit on us for whatever the fuck we said. If he would just be straight up, do I think it would be really great for him as his career and as a person, how he's perceived? I think we would probably get along with them and be like, dude, yeah. Like,
well, look at what happened with Buzzbiz.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
Same deal.
Yeah. How much shit talking was going on there, and then you guys had him on, and it was
with
like,
Matt. Yeah, but Matt didn't do the poaching. That's the thing.
No. But yeah, you guys, shooting deer out of hammocks and just all this dumb stuff. And,
well, we called it all out, all the stuff, and he just had his take, and we don't have to agree. That's fucking beautiful. Whatever. We don't have to agree. That's the beautiful thing about being an American. But like Chris could come in here and if he would do that, it'd probably be really fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. But I just don't believe that he would. And I'm not going to waste my time when he leaves and is mad about how it went and throwing a bitch fit. You know what I mean? Like, but if you'd come in and be like, hey, dude, let's just bullshit and see where it goes, we for sure would have him.
Oh, yeah.
You know how many times that's been requested? And that's one thing where the hunter guys had him on, and I'm like, boys, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
Like, all right, affiliate yourselves with that piece of shit.
I know.
Like, that's the worst shit. But whatever. That's their take. They can do what they want. I'll respect their decisions, whatever. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, the Hunter podcast and Jared and Jeremy, you know, they're pretty popular on
They're
TikTok.
great fucking dudes, man.
And they seem like really good dudes. But that Chris Brackett dude, I've seen his explanation of what happened, and it's like what I heard was, okay, he was hunting this one deer, and the next thing he knew, he heard, and there was a cloud of smoke, and he told the cameraman to shut the camera off, and then this 8-point came out, and then so he shot the 8-point, and then they were trailing it, and it went by some feeder or something, and I'm like, dude, that is the craziest fucking way to say I shot 2 deer that I have ever heard in my life. That would be one hell of a cross-examination, you know, is to say, okay, so what you're saying is you heard a but you're not saying why you heard it or that you pulled the fucking trigger.
Right.
You know,
it's too much rigmarole.
Right. Yeah. You smoke and mirrors is what we called it in the law. And that's what Bracket's all about. But, you know, Jeremy and Jared in the Hunter podcast. So to get back, I know we're kind of leaning to the Lakosky thing.
Yeah. We'll get there.
So, you know, those two I was on the phone with one day about the CJ Alexander thing. And I'm like, and the exact conversation went, hey, do you think, I think Jared asked me, he said, do you think CJ did it? And I said, well, I'm going to say this. If that dude that was with him rolls on him, his ass is cooked. But if they don't have his phone and they don't have any proof, and it was like weeks later that they confiscated it, I don't know of any way that they could prove that he poached that deer, whether he did or not. Mm-hmm. And so that's, that was the conversation I had with them. And Jared, who had questioned him for hours, he was on the same page. We were like, okay, yeah, well, let's see what happens. This will, this will play out interesting. They had the gut pile and the bloody, it was like the O.J. Simpson case.
The glove.
The glove didn't fit.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was that conversation. And then Jared says, well, I need to go. I've got Lee Lakosky coming on the podcast. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I made some videos about them and that ranch, the Outland Ranch that I've been hunting around for years. And I found that, there was no truth to the statements that they were releasing deer on that. And so then that podcast later that night, Jared brings it up. And Lee fucking spirals out of control, man. He's like calling me a dumbass, and and
did he say he wanted to punch you in the face?
No, he didn't.
I got your third coin. Cha-ching! See what I did?
Did call him a dumb lawyer though.
Very nice. That's a good move.
Yeah, it's gonna backfire.
He used it for you.
It's gonna backfire on me.
He took my
third
coin.
You
son of a bitch. You got my third coin.
Sneaky, very sneaky.
So, and transferred it off to Lakosky.
Yeah,
that's pretty smart.
Man, he's a little more artistic.
Come on, you think CJ would have got out of this shit?
you believe what it says.
I would have got his ass. For the record, before we move on, I want to give the Hunter guys some credit. Like, they can have Chris Brackett on and not get themselves in a lawsuit. We're too reckless to do that.
And that's why you're respected.
Whoa. I didn't expect that. Thank you.
Well, I mean, seriously,
you're trying to give credit to Hunter, but like,
you're not fake.
Thank you. Okay.
As Joshua Sparks would say, the realest fucking podcast on the planet.
By the way, a fun fact, he didn't think we're actually going to use that clip. He said that to us.
I know, I love that.
He's still upset about it.
We still use it.
We're
still using it, Josh.
Yeah, fuck you, Josh. Your Midwest Whitetail show, think you're all cool, like it's a big deal. Which, by the way, Josh will say it's not. He's that humble. You're a big deal, Josh. We love you. Okay. Back on to this situation. Sorry, Tony. I disrupted the piece here. Because that clip I did see from Hunter, where Lee's like, oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that dumb lawyer. He said, do you really think that I'm releasing it? I got 4 kids. I got kids. I got 4 full-time jobs. You know, that's why you buy land in Illinois. That's why you buy land in Kentucky. That's why you buy land in Kansas. And, you know, and mentioning the lawsuit stuff, you know, I'm my only client, so I don't sue nobody, you know. I get sued frequently, actually, and, you know, get myself into stupid shit. Oh, my God. Anyway.
Stupid shit.
Yeah, I get myself into stupid shit all the time. But, you know, I'm sitting there thinking it's a good fucking thing that I don't practice law and, like, actually try to represent C.J. Alexander, because being called a dumb lawyer on a podcast, you know, that's pushing the limit here. You know, that's my livelihood.
Right,
and
right.
So
I see what you're saying.
And so I'm thinking, you know, I've got to respond. I can't just let this guy. I mean, honestly, I've never taken an IQ test before I killed a deer, but I have taken plenty before I was able to represent people in federal court. And so I'm thinking, okay.
For real?
Well, yeah. I mean, you got bar exams, dude. You know,
yeah.
I'll just kind of run through, you know, about 25% of the people that have a GPA of 3 or better in college, in an undergraduate degree, even pass the LSAT, the admissions test. About 25% of those that pass the admissions test actually get an invitation to school. About half of the people that actually get in and graduate or get into law school, about half of those people actually graduate, and about half of those people pass the bar the first time. So you're talking about, you know,
a small number,
very small,
5%.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's 0.4% of the population actually makes it that far.
Wow. And
so, you know, from my perspective, to say I kill big deer, so I'm going to judge this 0.4% of the population and who is smart and who is dumb, I'm like, okay, I might be the worst lawyer out there.
Still pretty fucking smart.
But you know, I mean,
smarter than all of us in this room combined.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And so, so I wanted to respond. Now, I'm going to take a step back. You know, no, all love, no hate. I mean, Tiffany was not my camp, but she was running down the road, and the guy that I mentioned earlier, the farm family that actually farms Thomas Roll's ground, they stopped and said, "Hey, Tiffany, you know, why don't you come have a beer?" She comes to their camp and sits on the front porch with these guys and drinks a beer. I mean, they're bound to be top-notch freaking people.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, my response to Lee was, "Hey, man, you know, we're probably going to have a good laugh about this one day, but from between now and then, I get to, you know that, you know, you're calling me out for being a dumbass when I was watching you 20 years ago, you know, and had a lot of admiration and respect for what you were doing in the whitetail industry because, you know, let's face it. I mean, the dude back in cable television, they were the thing to watch. I mean, them and the juries. Yeah. And to some degree, you know, Jay Gregory. And so I'm like, you know, I have a lot of admiration and respect, but now I'm not a big, huge buck hunter. I'm more like Jed Clampett, but you kind of stepped on my toes a little bit, and that toe might be up your ass if you don't, you know, you're not careful at some point. Yeah. So I had to respond. And
totally. Yeah, for sure.
But in terms of what I've painted him as the kind of the villain in my TikTok is, you know, I call him a horn star, like the guys that all they care about is antler size. Yeah. That's it. That's, you know, that's what makes you who you are. And dude, you know, I'm a 54-year-old out of shape dude. I'm never going to be, you know, a 200-inch killer. And bluntly, I don't like killing. Okay, I do. Yeah. I mean, I'll kill them, but the deer that I shot this year, you know, I knew it was a lethal shot, and I watch him walk off and I see where he goes, and all the herd of deer that bedded in that area, you know, they come smell his trail, and you know how deer will do. They're very curious creatures. And I'm like, you know, I'm literally brokenhearted that it's like this, you know, the alpha buck's funeral, you know, and I'm sitting there part of the funeral, you know, the killer. And the first deer that I shot, I shot it multiple times. My buddy finally hollered through the woods, quit fucking shooting it. You're tearing up the meat. And I couldn't stand that this spike was sitting there going, bang, bang, it'd been shot. And so, there's room in hunting, from my view, for scientists like the Lakoskys and like the fellow that you were talking about. That's just he's a buck god. He's
Chandler, also Chandler.
And to some degree, Zach. He's a big buck killer. That's the scientific. I'm more the artistic side of it. I have buddies come up from the Gulf Coast that never seen deer. Like I, had never seen deer.
Yeah.
That size. And I enjoy the kind of the fellowship, and I enjoy sitting in the towers and watching these deer and putting my buddies on them and that kind of stuff. It's just that's just kind of my season. I spend 3 months every morning, every evening I'm in the woods or in the shooting houses at this point. But I did it. I put 400 hours each year into deer hunting, and I rarely pull the trigger. I mean, maybe a couple times a year.
Yeah. I just love how you're just forward with all your takes. I think it's cool. You did have to respond to Lee. I feel like but I feel like your takes on things are interesting. Like, and I can pull your TikTok up. We can play like an example video if someone listens and isn't aware of you, like we've done with Zach and his TikToks. Like they're fun to watch. Eric's not on TikTok, so Eric misses a lot of this stuff. Well, maybe
I miss everything. Not a lot of it. I miss everything.
Do you have any pinned videos on your profile, Tony?
Yeah, a few, I think.
See, all right, this is what's funny. Every time I type in TikTok on here, Zach's comes up because that's
he's the king of TikTok.
Sorry,
man.
Brandon.
All right,
I'm the TikTok guy now.
So what should I just watch this first one or this one?
Oh no, the second one.
The second one.
Donnie, Uncle Donnie.
Okay.
Oh my
God! I forgot about that.
You gotta explain. All right, I'm gonna.
Okay. This is after I called. I responded to Lee, and then I went on, and there was this whole rumor about Gary Laveau and Tiffany and the blind and all, and the cameraman.
Gary from
Rascal Flats.
Rascal Flats.
Yeah. I think he used to hunt with them, and everybody said they had an affair, and Tiffany had trouble and all this, and I'm like, so I asked the question on TikTok, and the actual cameraman gets on there and goes, no, Laveau tried, Tiffany ran his ass off. And so I put that on TikTok. I'm like, it's brutal honesty. And this Donnie Hansen's the next day, he doesn't like anybody, saying anything to that degree about it. And so he's on there, and it's hilarious, man.
So I'll play this video. I have heard a couple things about Tony through people I know, unrelated to your videos.
So he comes out of nowhere?
Oh, it's glorious.
I will play this video, but this is one thing. I don't know Tony, never met Tony, but I know someone who knows about Tony, and this is unrelated to your videos.
You mean Donnie?
I'm sorry, yeah, Donnie.
Donnie,
Tony. Sorry, my bad. Donnie. It's close, right? You see where I got?
Yeah, I can see how you.
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you talking about him.
Right.
All right, Donnie. I know someone that knows him or something, unrelated to Tony's videos for the listener. I guess Donnie actually is a badass dude, and has connections in places you don't want connections. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
He's a biker, man,
he is.
And that's what I'd like to do is I'd like to challenge him to a Harley Davidson hunt with a crossbow, and we'll just get down to brass tacks and see who can get the biggest buck off a Harley Davidson with a crossbow in the mud. We'll just do it.
Yeah.
Pull your Harley out in the middle of a bean field. Try to shoot a deer.
God told me to do it.
Right.
Shit, we get better patent that because Matt's gonna steal that idea.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna play this video. And I don't know if I know this one.
Oh, it's glorious.
All right, hold on.
Fuck you.
Hello, TikTok.
Oh, hey.
This is a little message for Tony Washnock or Wingnut or whatever the fuck his name is.
Hey, man, you seem a little rattled and upset. Is something wrong with your hoo-ha?
That's been running his mouth about Lee Lakosky and Kevin Boyer and saying stuff about Tiffany.
Well, now I'm interested. What was said about Tiffany?
And who are you? You know what you are? You're a wannabe. You're a jealous wannabe. Them people are my friends.
No, I think there's some confusion. I do not want to be your friend. I am not a wannabe friend.
I worked 2 years for Lee and Tiffany.
Man, that's just the name of the game. I see it all the time. People do things for people wanting to get popularity, wealth, and power out of it, and it just doesn't happen. Get over it, bro.
Moved on. Great opportunity. They're all happy. We're all happy.
Hey, man, psst, you don't sound happy at all.
But you, the lawyer, that I looked into you a little bit. You're barred. I mean, you want me to start putting stuff on TikTok?
Would you really? Would you really, man? Yes, I want you to do that.
Like, you're making stuff up about them? Fuck you. That's what I say.
Somehow, Donnie, I knew that's what you were going to say. It took you a long time to get there, but that's what you finally said. We all knew you was going to say it, Donnie. How you feel?
Hello, TikTok.
That's the end of it. It's blue.
Oh, man. Way to get out of everybody there.
So he was pissed, man.
Yeah, he's shaking pissed.
Oh, I don't know that the shaking's from being just pissed.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. Okay, so did that come from the Hunter podcast stuff and then videos after that?
Yes.
Yeah, just response
Yeah.
videos from the Hunter podcast.
And Donnie was a farm hand for the Lakoskys, if I understand right. And then
farm manager or something.
Yeah,
like that.
okay. That'll get some attention. That's got a lot of views on it. This one's got a lot of views on it, over 500,000.
I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, that's the Arkansas stuff. That's just, I mean, just cutting up, just deer camp shit. Basically bought some ground over in Arkansas and went to talk to the neighbor about, managing deer. And he's like, yeah, I got, 4 grandsons and 3 sons, and it's like 12 of them all together on his 25 acres, and so I sit down in his living room, and I'm like, hey man, I'm throwing a volleyball. Y'all all ready for deer season? And he spits his, red seal long cut right there in the floor of his living room and looks me square in the eye. I mean, and says, son, we season our deer after we kill them, whatever time of year it is. And I said, that was a short fucking conversation. Adios, brother.
Whoa. Spicy.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's a wild.
I don't fuck around Arkansas.
Yeah, I don't expect anything.
Man, that's a
pretty good line,
dude. Yeah.
So when you had
Not when I would be caught saying.
so the Lee stuff was where I missed because I thought the CJ came after the Lee stuff. Then what was like the next thing? Because I know there was some things to follow after. Like, I know you had some good. I thought it was a healthy take on Seek One. I didn't necessarily think it was a negative take.
Seek One stuff, CWD stuff. I know you got.
But the Seek One, was that a negative thing? I felt like the Seek One thing wasn't negative.
No, the Seek One thing. I mean, if I'm gonna just bare my soul, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Lee Ellis and their use of electronics and their use of networking and social media. That is spook span made over.
Oh fuck! But there's a lot to dissect right there.
but nobody on TikTok's gonna listen to. You have this, admiration for Seek One. You know where they're going in this industry. Nobody cares about that. They want to know a little bit about the scuttle. That's just TikTok, man. Look at it like the WWE of social media.
I respect it. I respect the craft to it.
So what I said was, he's a rock star. That whole bunch, they're rock stars. But there's going to come a day when they're going to look around and go, we're leading an entire tribe of people that are doing nothing but killing. These deer that they're killing are ornamentals. that little children and their parents are feeding in the backyard and watching in the, through the window in binoculars out the back of the sink or whatever in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And at some point, this whole Seek One is going to come to the terms of reality that they're takers. They're not givers like the gamekeepers, like the Toxie Hayes, like the Mississippi boys, Cuz Strickland, mm-hmm. those guys. And that was kind of and then, I'll just concede that I've memorized way too much biblical scripture, too many passages. You spend 400 hours in the woods every year, you got to have something to do.
Yeah.
And so I never felt like I couldn't respond. What was somebody going to say? And so I started sprinkling in scriptures like a thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but I come to be the giver of life, John 10:10, and doing that. And it just erupted in people. It's like, they came to the defense. But I'm going to say this, I don't remember the guy's name, but one of the guys with Seek One actually direct messaged me and said, we're starting a processor and we have these days where they're doe days and we feed the community. And I had to do like part 2 and say, in the urban setting, it's more important to feed the people than it is to show them animals in their yard.
Right.
The rich people are who have the animals in their yard. The starving people are going to shoot those animals.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the point with the Arkansas thing. The ground I bought, big deal. I saved up money and spent it, but this guy was feeding his family.
Yeah, he had to do it type of thing.
Yeah. They didn't have garbage service. Hell, they had diapers stacked up on the front porch. It is what it is.
Right.
And so it turned me around for Seek One to be accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he had to respond to me like I had authority over him or anything.
Yeah, it's cool he did.
That's what I felt. And that's, and so I came to the realization and the conclusion that it's more like Psalm 1:1. That the guy that is just focused on doing what's right, he's going to be prosperous in everything that he does.
Yeah.
And I really feel that about Lee Ellis. I think he's part of the future of the sport.
I will tell you, I don't know Lee Ellis real well. So he was already supposed to be in here in another podcast, and we rescheduled. It's going to be good. Like the content we're going to have a Seek One this summer is going to be fucking wholesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
And I've talked to him twice on the phone, 3 times on the phone, and every time I talk to him, all right. Let me start with this. I was told. All right, well, I'll go back even further before that. So here's my brain. This is how my brain works. So I got my start in this industry through Muzzy Broadheads. There was a guy named Mark Land from Georgia. Mark Land. I started on the pro staff. I'm heavy finger quoting.
Back when it was cool.
Back when it actually meant something.
This would have been 2009. I was 18, 19. Graduated high school in 09. Mark, I applied for the Muzzy Field Pro Staff, whatever the fuck it was called at the time. I became close with Mark Land. Mark Land he was the bow fishing guy for Muzzy Broadheads on Real Tree road trips at the time. He was a huge deal. I still think he is. Like he did a lot for Muzzy Broadheads. He was the Muzzy Broadheads guy, besides like the Eichlers, whatever. So, where am I going with this? I'm fucking losing my track.
Well, like Muzzy and Wasp were the only 2 real broadheads out there. So this was big time. Mark Land was
Muzzy.
Yeah, right. Okay. So I would get my credit from Muzzy every year, and I would shoot Muzzy. You look back at my old pictures. I got a Muzzy hat on. I got Muzzy stickers on my quiver. Like I flew the flag, dude. I found last night I was going through my old stuff. We want to talk about vintage stuff. I have a collared button up, full blown embroidered on the back Muzzy Broadhead shirt. The first ATA show I ever went to. Mark brought,
damn right you're wearing that.
Dude, I wore it. I was part of the crew.
Yeah.
Mark's like, you and your old man come down. This is my first ATA I ever been to. Help us set up the booth. This is back when Muzzy had a log cabin booth with 2 levels. Like fucking shit. 2 levels. I'm in there. I got the Muzzy fucking button up on. It's,
Heart of
the
the
whole
Rock.
thing's embroidered on the back. Super sick. So I'll drag this conversation on until you get back to me.
I've listened to 705 episodes, this being 706. You've never told that story before.
No, I don't think you have.
Ever.
The Muzzy
really?
one?
I thought
You still have the
I for
shirt?
sure have. Yeah.
He's told that story before.
For sure. I thought I've told it like 100 times, but maybe I haven't. Maybe I haven't.
I don't think you've ever said that.
I got
on the
pictures
podcast
of me and
before.
my dad in the Muzzy booth. Like, I have pictures of me. Someone took a picture from the top floor of me, like, setting up
Yeah,
the
you
Muzzy
still have
booth.
those. I've seen those.
Yeah, I have some of them laminated at home on the garage wall, but that's how I got started.
That's crazy.
And Mark Land back in the day goes, hey, I know these guys down here in Georgia that are killing city deer. You should have them on the podcast. And this was like when we first got started in the podcast. And I'm like, for sure, yeah, but how do I get a hold of him? I couldn't look through text now, but I'm sure he probably sent me his number. But Mark knew these guys. And that was Seek One back before they're like what they are. And I'm like,
oh shit.
Fuck, I should have just like jumped on it. But at the time,
I remember that because we sat there and looked them up on YouTube and watched some of their videos of. They're in Atlanta, right?
Their early stuff was really good.
And this is so early, but yeah, that's how I got started. Was Mark Land from Muzzy Broadheads.
That's wild.
I'll tell this story real quick until Tony gets back, and then I got to go fucking pee because we're boozing. But I went my first ATA ever. It was in Columbus, Ohio. There was the bar attached to the convention, and we went back. I had just turned. I might have been 21. No, I was younger than that. I was not of drinking age, but I was with everybody else who was significantly older than me. But they had that show, Muzzy Bad to the Bone, and Joey Menegatti was one of the main hosts. And Joey, before that show, had just won some big belt buckle. He's a rodeo guy. He won it in a rodeo. So Joey's like the fucking man. Very Devin Leonard vibes. And we go to this fucking bar, and Joey's married and was having a kid at the time. And I was a youngster, dude. I had gauges in still, and I was so embarrassed because everyone brought them up at ATA back in the day. And I remember being at the bar and all of them trying to get me to hit on this older chick in the industry. It's like, Kurt's in here, Kurt, come on. I was not drinking age. Now I remember. They're buying me beers.
But you were drinking.
I was drinking for sure. And then Jim Shockey comes up and he's at the bar having a beer, and I'm like, what the fuck is
going on right now?
I'm a kid with my dad and all this shit. And there's other stories I can tell on Patreon, but I can't tell them here. But that was my introduction. Anyway, Mark had talked about Seek One back then. Well, not then, but after we started the podcast, that's how I met Mark.
Probably 16, 17, probably.
It would have been 16, probably
Yeah.
2016, yeah. And I just didn't think to hit him up. But anyway, but the times I have talked to Lee, he's been so fucking cool. But people had told us before I talked to him, they're like, your guys' vibes don't mesh. He's so churchy. You guys won't get along. That dude is so down to earth from what I've talked to on the phone with him. And we're going to have a really good, he's going to come in here for a week and we're just going to have a blast. Yeah.
Can I come for a day?
I could invite you, but I can't. It's one of them things. We had two.
I'm a city hunter, man. Come on.
We had some dates that you can go on podcast night. But we had some dates that were gonna work out, and he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Cool. All right, I'm booking my flight now. I'm coming from this date to this date. I'm gonna come out. We're gonna hang out." I'm like, "Perfect."
Bingo.
So, yeah, we got some dates.
That's so cool.
So
yeah,
really cool guy from my perspective.
Kid's a rock star, man.
He's good.
He really is, and he's doing shit that's never been done before, and you know, and that's kind of what draws a lot of people to Jacobi as well. I mean, he is slinging arrows on TikTok Live.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the naughty side of TikTok.
The naughty side.
Yeah.
You're naughty. You're naughty.
Oh, he's naughty. Yeah, no, I mean, but you know, here's a guy that is from Iowa that is all about community and family and just is in the grind of hunting, you know, and shed hunting and turkey hunting and doing all those things. And you can see, you know, as kind of an old head, I'm looking and I'm going, okay, so this Lee Ellis dude and this Jacobi kid, you know, one of these days they're going to have their own farms. It's just you don't have that passion within you and not have that, fall out. I mean, I don't think I even told my story about my farm here today. And, I'm just this dumbass that's down in Florida getting fired, and I buy this 160 acres because I don't know that the deer in Florida are little, and, like I said, Outdoor Life was the only reference that I had for deer hunting in 2000.
Yeah, want me one of those.
I want one of those. I'm going to grow one here in Florida. Yeah, I'm going to feed it in food plots and all this stuff, and I'm doing that. And cameras, back when the juries had some camera that you could put a beta or a camcorder in the box.
At the wildlife eye, we have one.
Isn't there one in the other?
We have one.
Yeah. Doing this shit, and the neighbor, so I bought 160 acres, and I begged, barred, and stole everything I could get just to get that, 160 acres, and it's like back off the highway and everything. And so the old man next to me dies that had all the ground between the highway and my ground, my 160 acres, that I'm, scratching to make payments on. And this is back when in Florida, because of Arthur Anderson and Bernie Madoff, this is a long time ago, but 1 in 3 mortgages was either in default or in forbearance in the state of Florida. And here I am trying to practice real estate law in the state of Florida, and none of my clients can pay. They're all getting, their land taken. And so I'm just working on tractors and shit. And my neighbor dies that has all that good ground along the highway. And his son and daughter, he has a son and daughter, and his daughter wanted out, but his son wanted to keep it. He was like in the military, and he wanted to be able to hunt there and all, this family tradition stuff. So they put it in a conservation easement and give the money to the girl and give the land to the guy. And then we come out of that recession, the Obama administration, and we go into Bush and all that. And we come out of that, and this developer comes along and goes, we want to develop up along this highway, but they can't build next to the highway. So this deer hunting land where you've been cutting trees and doing all that, what if I stroked you a check for $1 million next week for it? And I'm like, you mean I don't have to go in there and get chewed out by the law, by the judges in front of my clients anymore? I can actually do what I enjoy doing. Hell yes. So it's like this Jed Clampett thing of, just
strike it rich.
Yeah. I'm avoiding going to the office by going out in the woods in fucking Florida, thinking I'm big buck hunting.
In Florida.
In the sand, like trying to grow, shit in the sand.
They say fucking Florida.
Yeah, well, that's not a deer hunting mecca.
No.
I didn't know that. Hell, I didn't know. And, so here's this Jed Clampett story. And so from my perspective, I'm looking and I'm seeing these kids that actually have talent.
Yeah.
Like Lee Ellis, like Jacobi. And I'm going, that day's going to come. And the reality of it is it ain't about controlling that. It's about being ready. It's just about like when that 200-inch walks out for you, you have to be prepared for that. Yeah. Frankly, I've had a 200-inch out. And I broke a tooth and chipped another one and missed the motherfucker at 15 yards with a crossbow. I was not ready for that deer, but I was ready for the money.
I gotcha.
And and so these guys that I see that have the talent have so much more talent than I ever had. Mm-hmm. I know what's in store for them.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun for me to watch all that play out,
Yeah. Yeah. I love how honest your takes are. I think that's what makes you captivating when you talk. I think that's what makes your TikTok popular, because you kind of have a way of pulling people in. Like you tell a story, you like break through something, I'm in. Like you're very good at that.
Southern charm.
It's the charm, but you're articulate, but you're so honest. You just have a take that people can grab onto. I think it's good. I'm trying to compliment you. I hope it seems like a compliment because I'm trying to compliment you.
And I have
I was like, is it not seeming like a compliment? But I am trying to give you a compliment.
When he's looking at you like,
I have a confession.
Trying to get out here.
I have a confession. I know it's not a revelation to a lot of people, but I fully intended to show that this Horn Star mentality was just a big fraud in the industry. And so I took a bag of Perfect 10 from Rural King with Tiffany's picture on it, and a bag of, I think it was like Brassica Pro or whatever, and I planted it next to the river. And, and I've planted food plots from Florida all the way up to Illinois, which is the Gulf of America to the Great Lakes. And that's the best fucking seed that I have ever planted. Damn it, man. It's, what do you say? What do you do? I mean, I don't know what it is, but that bag keeps that seed fresh. And I hated it, man. I hated watching them bucks in that food plot because I'm like, that son of a bitch knows something I don't. But that's the God's honest truth. I bought from co-ops, and that's what I generally do. And there's a lot of good people in seeds, in seed sales.
The seed place gets weird in general, but I know what you're saying.
But man, that was good fresh seed. I don't know what the Lakoskys are doing with that analogic or whatever. But I hate the fact that that's the best food plot I've ever grown in 20 some odd years.
Well, what's funny? So we work with Big Tine. They've been a major partner of ours for a long time, and I feel the same way. Like the proof is just in their product. Like I think Zach, you've used a lot of Big Tine stuff.
Absolutely.
Proof's in the bag.
And it's just what it is. But like I always tell Joe Humphreys, he's like the flagship personality for Big Time. Like he's made feeding deer cool again. Like he's one of the few guys that's like what he focuses on and makes it cool. And there's just like, I think that's the cool thing about with I guess what I'm getting to, the brands we promote, it's because we actually want to use it or would use it otherwise, And I do hate going back to that. Like you wanted it to kind of be shitty in your head.
I put it in good ground because I wanted to get on TikTok and say, y'all are paying threefold what you can get at the co-op. And this shit ain't no better.
Right.
And that shit was so much better. And,
I think people want to think because you're promoting something, it sucks. Like, but I'll be honest, like with us, we don't have to have a partner to do it. All our partners, if you look through like our categories, they all fill the void of something we're using anyway. And guess what? All the shit we're using, shit we'd use anyway. And if anybody wants to call us out, that's fine. We've killed a lot of deer over Big Time food, almost an inarguable amount. If that's a word, I don't know, but I just made it up. But you really can't argue with our statistics of deer we've killed because of relation to Big Time,
for sure.
or because of, you know what I mean? Like we've now we've been around long enough to kind of prove our angles and that it's not all bullshit, right? Like we've turned down a lot more partners than people realize. Like we could cash in on checks and be the Horn Star type guys and look at us and do that, but we just don't do it because I think it's bad for the long run of your brand.
Yeah, I mean, when I walked into your facilities and I saw the huge deer, and I'm like, and then the giraffe and the brown bear, and and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, these guys are, way above my level of hunting experience, and they know what they're doing, and they're big buck killers. I mean, they are. I'm not gonna impress them. They're not gonna come to my camp and see the deer on the wall and just like be, oh, Tony, you must have committed your life to this discipline. And so I'm looking around and I'm going, okay, I don't do brand affiliation. I just, I don't have to.
Yeah, you're not going to sell releases on TikTok?
No, I'm not gonna.
Not sell the bow.
I'm not gonna sell flashlights. I'm not gonna
flashlights. What do you mean you're not gonna sell flashlights?
I'm not gonna do that. I might schmooze some legislators and such about the CWD Genetic Improvement Act and about the CWD Research and Management Act on the floor of Congress, but I'm not going to sell anything, and I'm looking around and I'm going, okay, you don't have these kind of successes and be worried about who's going to pay you the most to say what it is that you are doing. You know, that is out the door with modern entertainment. You know, yes, back in the day, people would shoot a deer and then they would go take their bow and refilm with a Matthews or PSE or whatever, you know, and refilm the shot and then play it. And they were like, yeah, but I don't have any, you know, but that's my spot. Okay. You're not going to do that in this, you know, modern era.
It's a way different time.
And so, you know, there's nothing illegitimate about having brand partnerships. Now, you know, I don't have brand partnerships and not looking for them. I would say that there are a lot of people that send me products, and every now and then I'll use something and just be like blown away. Like, I don't know, did you use the Scrape Doctor stuff this year? Okay, Zach had a picture, it was about mid-October, of a deer that was, you know, rubbing his eyeball on a licking branch. And I always thought they were just wrapping, you know, the branch in their antler, and it was just hitting them in the eye. That's what, you know, when I would see that, which wasn't free. I mean, you have to have a buck that's very comfortable to be, you know, doing that. And he's not looking around. He's not worried about hunters. He's not worried about other bucks. You know, he's very comfortable in the area. So this year, this guy sends me this stuff, and I mean, and he's like, you know, salt of the earth. He's like, everybody that I've mentioned this to that's in the industry, they basically pissed on me and said, you know, you don't know what you're talking about, and laughed at him. And I used his product because Zach had sent me this picture of this deer that would look like it was
trying to gouge his eye out. I mean, like, you know, when the buck's hitting the scrape and he's like trying to stick that branch in his eye.
Yeah, there's that gland there. Yeah,
this was a mock scrape that deer had not been using, and I had put this scent on it for 3 days, and this deer was trying to. I mean, I broke it off, right? So trying to make it look like a licking branch, and this deer is trying to stick that stick in his eye in his preorbital gland. And
what's the brand?
Scrape Doctor.
Scrape Magic was the name of it, and I don't get good pictures until Halloween. Yeah, and Zach's over there getting like these videos of these huge bucks, you know, and I'm like, hey, just slide me a little something on what you doing. You
Help
know?
me.
And I remembered this guy had sent me this stuff. I mean, right along with the rest of them, and I said, well, I'll try it. And no shit, he said, you know, give it 24 to 48 hours. And I went out on this farm where I saw the Black Panther, which I know we ain't talked about yet.
We're going to get into the Black Panther.
Yeah. Okay. So I went out there and I sprayed it in a food plot. Bounty Hunter and I had done. Bounty Hunter's my 70-something-year-old hunting buddy that's got a stint in, you know, and so he and I had made a food plot. So I'm like, I ain't seen a buck.
You call him Bounty Hunter? That's
yeah, Bounty Hunter. His name's Randy Price.
Sick name for the record.
It's not Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Huh? Dog the Bounty. Oh, he's much more fierce than Dog the Bounty.
Good. Yeah, good.
So I go and spray this stuff, and I'll be damned if within 24 hours, a old ass mature buck. I couldn't see the points, but it was one of the widest bucks I've ever had on camera. You know, he goes to the stuff, and so I'm like, well, this stuff works pretty good. But come November 1st, I'm an estrus guy. I've been doing this a long time, you know, as far as getting film and all on the, you know, taking inventory.
Right.
So I go out in this new parcel that I had bought, just this little 30 acres and near the camp, and I'm taking all the estrus drippers and putting them out and taking this, you know, Scrape Magic stuff down. And I have just one little bottle left. And as I'm leaving, I look over there, and y'all probably know what Phragmites grass is. It's that prairie grass looking shit, you know, the old oil well sites that they plug, and it's just that old tall shit you could grow on the beach in Florida, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's got a little moisture and somewhere to plant roots.
So there's this whole patch of it where there used to be an oil well. And I look, and there's all these rubs going into it. I said, you know, I'm going to try this shit. And so I hang this camera up, And I go over there and I put a wick down. You know, I use just old cotton rope for a wick and spray it on like a spinnerbait skirt or something. I spray it on there and keep it up there. And dude, it sounds like it was wind coming from my back going into that Phragmites grass. And it sounds like a limb falls out of a dead tree, like in sections, you know, ksh, 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 ksh. And I'm standing there and I think it's a limb at first. And then I realize, this is a deer charging at me in this Phragmites grass. It got a whiff of this scrape magic, this preorbital.
Right.
I didn't even know there was a such thing as a preorbital gland.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, holy shit. So we back out of there. And I come back with some buddies from Louisiana when they're up, and we hang a climber.
Yeah.
And I get the card out of that old camera. And it's a deer that I would harvest. I mean, it's the one I sent you a picture of. You know, a big old barreled neck deer. Yep. It's him, and he comes up there, and that very day, within 24 hours, and he puts his nose up there. And so I forget all about it. I'm like, oh, this is completely.
Eric, grab me one of those Zach's beers when you're in there. I want to try one of them.
Easy Eddie.
Yeah. Sorry, Tony.
No, ain't no problem, man. Take me an opportunity.
That's right. That's like. We're not alcoholics here on the WCB. We like to have a good time.
Just like to have fun.
Right. We just like to drink every day. It's
that's
nothing
right.
to do with alcohol.
No big deal. It's just we're having a good time.
It's deer camp without deer season. You know?
Yeah. You got to do something.
It's what brings us back, brother. That's what keeps deer camp year round.
Absolutely.
I'm really into the story about this deer.
Okay, so you know, here I am. I go sit in shooting houses all the time, you know, and
which I love, for the record.
Well, thank you. A lot of people don't like that. You know, Tim Wells doesn't appreciate that I just sit up in shooting houses all the time. He puts his daughter out -10, but what I said was, you know, right. Wait till some, you know, dusky little 21-year-old tries to put his daughter out -10 and see, you know, how he feels about that.
Yeah,
so, he'll have her in a shooting house. But anyway, so I go back like after my buddies leave, and they harvested the cornfield next to that Phragmites grass. And I said, you know, that buck is probably bedding in.
What state is this in?
Illinois.
Is it Illinois?
This is down there, McLeansboro.
Okay.
You remember I was telling you about the count down there?
Yep.
And
the hair salon.
Yeah, the hair salon.
Yeah.
The old mail house. Been there since 1800.
That's fucking awesome. I got to see pictures of this place.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll show them to you after the podcast. Anyway, that's by where Lakosky hunts. He hunts right up the road. Okay, so anyway, I go back one morning. First time I climb in a climber. I put the wrong damn climber out. You know, I've got like the old small one, you know, I'm jacking up in the tree from back when I was 100 pounds lighter. I bought, you know, and I get up there and I'm like, man, I don't even know if I can, you know, spin around to shoot. Dude, no shit. In the stand 20 fucking minutes, and this buck walks in a V-line, this very same one. Guaranteed, I believe it's the one that charged me before. Definitely the one that was bedded in there that I got photos of within 24 hours. He walks and he presents a shot, and I'm like, dude, I can't even miss this shot. You know, there's no, and just so I literally spent 20 minutes this hunting season out in the elements. The rest of it, I'm sitting in my shooting house drinking coffee or moonshine morning or evening. Most of the
morning
time.
or evening. I'll guess which one's which.
Right. Well, a little bit of both.
Never know.
Yeah, but this apparently this scrape magic stuff is the preorbital gland synthetic that this guy James Holmes had come up with. That's just been laughed out, you know, at all the trade shows and all this stuff. And he was desperate enough to look on TikTok to find some dude that's virtually.
I gotta start requesting like 2% equity in all these companies, because after this fucking podcast,
it's about to sell.
Stock's going through the roof. Yeah,
dude, I get no money. You know,
it's just if it works, it works. I get
it, and I'm not saying it'll work forever. It may be like the y'all probably don't remember the old Uncle Josh's pork rinds, but you could put one of them on a jig. and you could catch some bass. You know, it was like that flavor, that salty flavor, that first before they started putting it all on all the bass lures.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, and it just worked. You know, it just did. It caught big fish, and I'm not saying that this is some miraculous product. What I'm saying is that I didn't even know that the preorbital gland was something that deer were concerned with until Zach sent the picture. And then I'm like, you know, I've been doing this a long time. I ought to be able to at least do what this kid's doing, you know, with pictures and shit.
Yeah.
Remember, this is Iowa. So
yeah, which is lovely country, by the way. I got introduced to it today, actually.
Well, I mean, you're here. You might as well stay for the Iowa Deer Classic this weekend. So
it's only like 4 days away, but
not even that.
You're rich. You could hang out. Get all that CJ Alexander money. You could hang out for a while.
right. Now, I'd have to get a restraining order just to get them to let me in the door. Man, they'd be
Dude,
like,
they
what
let
does
us
this
in,
do?
brother. We let guys like you on.
Chris Brackett, you're in, but Washnock, you got to sit out in the parking lot.
I got a booth, and Bomar's got a booth, so you're good.
Oh,
you're
Josh
good.
Bomar. We hadn't even brought him up.
We're about to. Well, I have a feeling we're going to talk about that. But hey, if they let us into the shows, they'll let you in. You think in 700 some episodes we haven't said some shit to fucking piss everybody off in that building?
Working Class Bowhunter brings attention to the Iowa Deer Classic.
Thank you for saying that.
It's what we do.
I mean,
we're the party.
What can I not say? I mean, like, you guys do everything right.
That's not true.
Not
First
everything.
off,
You do everything
Careful.
right.
Careful.
I'm being brutally honest.
We're just honest. That's it.
That's the way
They
to
like
do
to have
it.
fun.
That's the way to do it.
Fun is fun.
Fun is fucking
Like-
fun.
I think, Tony, you should stick around and just, why not? Stay here at the studio
please
until
come.
the Iowa Classic.
Please come.
Oh, I can't do all that.
Why not?
Well,
What else you got to do?
What else do you have going on?
well, my stepson's getting married down in Florida.
Your stepson now.
When
he'll
this
probably get 4
weekend
or
he
5
is?
divorces. I mean, we'll just, grandkids and all that shit.
Yeah, all
you know.
right. That's a good excuse.
Yeah, no, yeah, maybe next year I might do the Iowa class. If I piss enough people off, maybe I'll get enough to, be able to get in there.
We'll do a 1 p.m. Saturday. Tony Washnock will be
Hot
at the
takes.
WCB booth giving you hot takes on just random shit. Q&A with
Random
Tony.
shit. Yeah.
The rest of the time you'll be at the Whitetail Hustler booth. So
Yeah, I definitely
We'll split
be able to wear
appearances
that.
through the weekend.
there you go.
I don't wear a shirt unless it's Whitetail Hustler or
Hey.
my own little.
Well, wait till you leave here.
I thought maybe we were going to be matching today, but
There you go, Boone and Crockpot.
I got the
yeah,
Boone
I've
and
got
Crockpot
them all.
well, when you leave here, you're going to be set up with some WCB merch.
Awesome,
Okay.
man. Yeah, okay. So my wardrobe's expanding.
It's going to get bigger. Yeah. More gay, but bigger.
For what we have left.
But bigger, yeah.
For what we have left,
Bigger, better.
most of the shit's in the trailer
Oh,
already.
fuck, it is. Huh? We'll give you some of the
all right.
discount
well,
merch.
you guys can just give it to me. I'll get it to Tony, and we'll,
All right, well,
we'll
we'll
figure something
get
out.
it to you, okay?
Awesome.
One way or another.
We loaded the trailer today for the Classic, so.
Should we talk about what we're going to be doing next year? Or
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
hopefully be doing?
We need to collaborate a little bit because
let's talk.
Yeah. and So I'm watching Zach on live one day, and he goes. I mean, I don't tune in a lot, but I tune in, and him and I think it's Corey Smith and Nimrod are on the live, and he goes, I wouldn't bait down in the South. I wouldn't bait. I could, deer, I could kill them. And I'm thinking, all right, well, this sounds.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Zach said that?
I said you give a killer enough time, and it's gonna happen.
Well, yeah, but a year's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I went to the South. You know what I did? Shot deer over fucking bait,
Yeah.
bro. And I'm not,
That's what you do.
I'm not, whatever.
So Tony made this proposition. He's like, hey, I got this farm down in Florida that's not been hunted in 4 or 5 years. Why don't you come down and try to kill one of these Florida bucks?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So here's the thing. What I'm willing to do is I'm willing to pay for his travel costs, and it'll bring attention to Florida deer hunting. I think it'll be a positive, and I would like for Zach to get at least 110-inch buck. If he gets a 110-inch buck by whatever means, then I'll have it mounted for him, because that's a Gulf Coast buck. That's a giant.
That's a giant.
That's a giant down there.
Shout out to Old Barn Taxidermy. You probably don't have to do that, but
they're going to order the form.
And he's going to bring his wife and kids, and they're going to enjoy. I mean, in the Florida deer season's in the spring. Like, they don't rut until early February down there.
That's insane. Yeah,
that's crazy.
It is insane. I mean, it's something to do, you know, for guys that, you know, they hunt up here and then they go through Christmas and.
I'll be shed hunting and then be like, oh, I got to go to Florida and hunt the rut.
I gotta go hunt the rut. I'll be back.
You know, the wife has put up with me going out there looking for a bunch of phosphorus and calcium on the, you know, from an animal on the ground that, and so why don't I take them down to the beach and let them enjoy, you know, all that. And then he and I, we can go and get in the airboat and do like a hog hunt.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So, but here's the thing, you know, I'm going to be sitting up in a shooting house with a 270 short mag over a field with corn, and it's not a competition. Okay, guys, this guy's 100 times better, you know, stalker or hunter than I ever hoped to be. But we need to work out what the parameters should be of a hunt like that, because we'll make it happen. You know,
I think we can make it happen. It's just,
it's a fun conversation because here's the thing. No matter where you live, this is what I gauge from socials. No matter where anyone lives, I think it's the hardest place to kill deer. And that's fine, whatever. But that's what's interesting is a guy from Iowa going to Florida, like the polar opposites of big buck states.
You'd never expect it, right? But
right. It's super intriguing.
I'm willing to do it. I want the challenge. I want to experience it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like you're going down.
I grew up in the mecca of whitetail hunting, right? Everyone would call Iowa or Illinois or Kansas the mecca of whitetail hunting. I grew up in Iowa. Never shot a 200-inch deer. I've had the opportunity to, but I think it'd be cool to go to Florida and try to succeed on a 110-inch deer, a deer that I wouldn't even think about even standing up in my tree stand for.
Yeah, right. So I went to Georgia in September, southeast Georgia, probably, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours from Florida. Maybe, I don't fucking know. I didn't see, I shot a doe just to shoot one. I saw a few small bucks, but I went out a very limited time. It wasn't like
we did some TikTok lives during that time period.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we did with Michael Lee from Backwoods.
Yep.
He invited us down. Michael Lee came up here. Love that guy. Backwoods Live TV. He's the fucking best.
He is the best.
He drank all our Blantons. God damn it.
He's really good at it.
He's really good at drinking blends. He's a great fucking guy. I love that dude. He's a great
dude.
And he's like, why don't you come to Georgia, southeast Georgia, and hunt? I'm like, all right.
Yeah, fuck it.
Like, for real? He's like, yeah, come down. I'm like, oh, I will. You know, like, you don't think I'll do it, you know? And I did it. I booked it. But then the messages from listeners, and I don't know if you've got this, was like from Georgia listeners, especially when I was down there. It was like I've told this a handful of times on the podcast. How you like in Georgia? Hoo hoo hoo.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yeah, it's hot and humid, but it's like it's hot and humid at home too.
Yeah, I've got the messages like, I can't wait to see you experience Florida. I want to see you experience Florida. I want to know what your take is on it. Type.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's cool, but like it was not about the deer. It was the humidity.
Yeah.
How are the gnats? How is this? I'm like, do we have all this shit in the Midwest too? You forget, like
Eric and Doug, what's Iowa like in August?
It's fucking hot and a bunch of gnats.
The gnats are worse in the Midwest.
Gnats and mosquitoes, bro.
It's 110% humidity with gnats.
People that are messaging, they forget, like, I've hunted in Sonora, Mexico. I've hunted in Canada. I've hunted in South Africa. We've hunted in Kentucky. We've hunted pretty much from Kentucky to Wyoming and Oregon and all. We have more
from Wyoming to Africa.
Yeah, we're not going to go to like Georgia and be like, and die.
I can't do this.
A mosquito. I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
I'm melting.
Yeah, like we've done it.
Yeah.
I'm loving the defensive position all y'all are taking about this Florida hunt.
But no, but I love that Zach is open to it, and for sure we would all do it. But I love how people think like it's almost defense the other way, because people from the South are like, how's the heat?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, It does get hot here.
It's hot everywhere, brother.
Yeah.
But it's just not hot as long.
Yeah, it's not hot in February.
It's not hot in October like it is.
We're not in the fucking Yukon, for Christ's sakes.
I don't want that to seem like I'm completely being defensive. It's more we're open minded because Michael Lee's like, come to Georgia. It's gonna be miserable. I'm like, are you really inviting me? Because I'll fucking if I can make it work with the family,
I'll do it.
I'll be there. And we went, but like it did suck. Like I have a Snapchat with a temperature filter of it being 93, and I'm like, I hunted in short sleeves. It's a good thing I'm tattooed.
Yeah, the difference is we just don't hunt it when it's that high here.
Yeah.
Like we can't.
I'm looking forward.
I don't want it to seem, Tony, that like I'm being like I'm not anti. But
no, I'm all about it, man.
Okay.
I mean, Zach's first response was, I'd love to do it, but I'm scared of snakes.
Oh yeah,
that was his first.
Yeah.
And then what I'm hearing is, I did it, and I got a doe, and I'm actually proud of that fucking doe that I killed because that environment is not. It does get hot up here.
Hot.
It does, but you don't expect to be down there fucking with snakes and bugs in January.
I'm not gonna lie, Tony. I found your farm one, so I know where we're hunting at if this happens. But one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to is the challenge of it. Right?
Totally. That's the fun part.
Right. That's what it's about.
It's a fun part.
Yeah, it is.
So one of the big things I'm kind of comparing it to is going out elk hunting for the first time and not knowing what the hell to do.
Right. The fun of the unknown.
And it took me 4 years to really get into elk and actually get an elk. And it may be that way in Florida. I may go down there and struggle my ass off, but
that's fun. But
here's what can I
take home?
What we'll do.
What can I take home to Iowa that I learned in Florida and make me more successful in Iowa? That's what I'm looking forward to.
Now the genius is coming out.
That's what I'm looking for.
But here's the fun take of it too is like, first of all, if I'm going to go back to Southeast Georgia, I would go way later in season. Because when we went down there, Michael Lee's dad's like, why the fuck did you guys come down in September?
So,
you should come down in December.
Here's what I'm looking forward to. So,
well, hold on real quick. Let me make this point.
Go ahead.
Then I can forget about it. You can talk. But I think people forget, like, even though we live in like really good deer states, of what everyone thinks about, we're not killing. We can kill any deer, but we're not going to kill any deer.
Yeah.
We're going after the challenge of killing the deer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of gets lost from an outside perspective of like, well, you can go kill any 120. Well, we're not hunting 120s.
Yeah.
We're trying to kill the deer out of all the deer,
Yeah.
which is where the biggest challenge is. So to think that you're not up for the biggest challenge, which is what you put up to Zach, I think Tony for Florida, like that is still par for the course on what Zach is used to in Iowa, right?
Hell, he'll probably kill any deer bigger than I've ever killed in Florida. Honestly, he probably will. And I'm pulling for him to do that. But I think what is demonstrable here is the varying cultures,
right?
And the like the Michael Waddells. He's a straight up killer.
Yeah,
but he's a good killer. I mean, if there's anybody in the hunting culture world that demonstrates what I would think is the personification of that innate DNA hunter mentality. And listen, man, I firmly believe that each of us have in us either that DNA, we're hunters, or we don't. You either want to pet an animal or you want to eat that animal. You're either from the city and you want to eat food from the market and pet the cute little animals, or you recognize through your genetic DNA, as Joe Rogan would say, that you have to kill, cook, and eat. Right. And that I think is what's demonstrated by you going to Georgia, by Zach going to Florida. It's not about, how much success do you have? Mm-hmm. It's about, this is what I do.
Right.
It doesn't matter where I am.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a great way to explain it. And I'm just somehow mad at him. I joke around when I say that. It's a funny way to like stir the pot, but it's like I categorize like our buddy Lee. Love our buddy Lee. He's an Iowa boy. Lee, I've said this several times. Lee is not a killer, but he likes to shoot good deer. He's very selective. He doesn't need to kill a deer. I like to shoot animals,
dude.
I love shooting animals. It's so much fun to me. But I'm not. I mean that with all respect. Does that kind of translate a little bit?
Yeah, oh man, you know, you were talking about Georgia. Before I moved to Florida, when I lost my first Florida lawyer job, I had no food. I had nothing. I was living off of the deposit. The lady was kind enough to let me not make me homeless and live off of the deposit that I had made until it ran out. And this fellow let me hunt, and I had an old 270 pump that I had bought out of a trunk of a car when I was a convenience store clerk in college. And it had this old, BB gun scope, you know, or whatever on it. I don't even know if it worked.
Crossman.
And I had, and you remember when bullets came? They may still, but they came in these little plastic things, and it was like 5 of them, and there were 4. Okay, I had 2 of those. That's what I had to my name. And people ask me now, what's the best deer you've ever killed? I mean, they look on the wall, you know, in my videos or whatever, and they're like, tell us about this deer. What's the best deer you've ever killed? Dude, I was set in the corner of a peanut field, stressed out about shooting over about 50 yards with this gun, and only had maybe 10 bullets, so I couldn't zero in. If it was off, it was off. You know, I was going to waste my bullets.
Right. It's what you had.
And this doe and this yearling walk up behind me, and I'm set in the corner of that field, and it's nothing but like privet and Yopon hollyberry, but down low you can still see. And so I just roll over, and this doe's standing there, and she turns her head, and I shoot, and she lays down right there. I mean, it folds her right there. Dude, that is the best. I mean, the reality of it was I was going to survive. I was going to make it that spring. I had to get that deer, and I had to cut all the fascia and sinew and, you know, and grind it myself and cut it up. But I had something to eat that spring. That's the best deer I've ever killed.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty badass.
That's beautiful, is what that is. See, I like that, man, over a peanut field.
Yeah, in the corner of that peanut field. And I might have been poaching. I don't know.
Well, you know what? It's funny.
Shot it in the legal place, but, you know, I might not have intended to.
First time I ever seen a peanut field was when I was hunting in Georgia.
Yeah.
And, dude,
I don't think I've ever seen one.
We had so much fun down there, man. Like, Michael Lee and his parents, we stayed at his parents' house, and his dad went and picked a bunch of green peanuts. He's like, you ever seen one of these, Kurt? And I'm like, and you got to think, this is an old school Southern dude from Southeast Georgia, and I pull up.
Right.
And I got fucking 3/4 inch holes in my ears and tattoos on my fucking neck on all angles. And this dude treated me like I was from the Southern Hunting Brotherhood. And just, his mom would go get lunch and dinner with all the fixins out of her way to go to the little marts where this old black lady's been frying chicken for 50 years and got that with the collard greens and all the stuff. It was the best Southern hunting time I've ever had, man. And it's like, were we hunting big deer? There's not a chance. It's 95 degrees. You know? Like, there's not a chance.
Carry the rack and a Crown Roll sack.
Yeah, I could have got one of them.
That's going to be a t-shirt someday.
But that wasn't what it was about. You know what I mean? It was about, like, we went down there. We drank great whiskey. We did some TikTok lives.
That was fun.
And it was the best time. Yeah. Like, we have it all on video. It's going to be great. Like, it was so much fun. So it'll be fun to see Zach go to Florida and kill a 180.
Kill 180.
Kill a 180 and the internet will just die.
Never hear the end of it.
What if he kills like a 140 just to freak us all down?
Yeah, right. Lee Ellis calling Zach, man. What the fuck, dude?
What the fuck?
What I'm looking forward to is, so I think the F6 guys brought him up. Brooke Martin. my buddy, Rick Martin. Pennsylvania boy, moved to Iowa, kills slobs. And I believe that is because he grew up in Pennsylvania. He was hunting more pressured deer.
Just tough shit.
Tough shit. Hunting more pressured deer, hunting probably less deer or more deer per square mile, but less buck to doe ratio. And he's getting on these deer, and he comes to Iowa and he starts killing giants. That's kind of the perspective I'm looking forward to in Florida. Like, what can I learn in a week? There's not much to learn in a week.
Yeah, right.
But what is there that I can learn in a week that I can then bring back to Iowa and maybe succeed even more? You know?
Yeah, you never know. I think every hunt you go on, you take away something.
Yeah.
Whether you really know it or not.
Well, like this late season buck I have laying here on the table. He came out of somewhere that I...
Yeah, hold that baby up while you're talking.
This is a buck I shot.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it turned off.
When? Motherfucker, were you going to say something?
I was trying to say something. You guys are in deep conversation.
Say it. Jordan!
Well, last time I was on the podcast, Doug and Eric weren't here, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, you probably like that, didn't you?
Sorry about that.
No, but I was talking about a big deer that I was hunting. This was one of the two that I was hunting. This is a deer I called D-Tech. Lacey's muzzleloader deer. As I scored him unprofessionally, right at 150 on the dot. No weights.
Damn.
So.
Not from the butthole?
No.
Measuring deer from the butthole now?
No, I mean, if it wasn't for the butthole days, I wouldn't be where I was on TikTok.
Hey, there you go.
You know?
That's a great buck.
Just proving people
That's a
wrong.
badass buck, actually.
Yeah, he's
I like the character.
5.5. I mean, he's got 12-inch G2s on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
give me that.
He's not Doug's 14-incher, but
close enough.
Okay, sorry about the
I
camera
bet it looked
stuff.
fucking huge in the field.
Thanks, Jordan. Sorry about
well, so I had pictures of this deer in velvet.
Like we're yelling at Jordan through the walls.
And you can see on his right beam here, he's kind of got this little tiny little baby dropper.
Oh, geez.
I was on my way to Colorado to go elk hunting, and I stopped. I was on a TikTok live with my buddy Nimrod, and I stopped and grabbed an SD card from this camera, and I had a picture of this deer facing like this. I could just see his little baby dropper. I was like, oh, that's a good deer. I know that deer. He's 5.5 years old this year. I like to shoot him.
See that little tit hanging.
And I was like, oh, I'll hunt him with my longbow a little bit, and I did. And I kind of just forgot about him for a little bit. I ended up shooting a different deer on public land with my longbow. And then late season come around, I was hunting public again, and I had a buddy text me, and he was like, or he called me. He was like, hey, I just saw this buck that you call D-Tech in the CRP field. I was like, oh, really? It's like, I'd shoot him, maybe. He's right at 150, mid-50s probably, depending on the angle you look at him on trail camera pictures. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
As an 8-point, like,
Especially as an 8.
As an 8, it's hard to tell. Like, when a deer's getting close to 150 as an 8, it's like, okay, he could be 160. Depending on body size, like, he could be right there somewhere. So I was thinking, like, right at 150s, mid-150s as an 8-point, depending on what his G3s are and stuff. And he tells me one night, he's like, I seen him walking down this waterway in the CRP field. So the next night, I go out and I hunt out of a barn that's butt up next to the CRP field. And the only deer I see that night is him. He stands up 200 yards away. And
He was better there the whole time?
He was better. I don't know. He was there the night before.
Yeah.
He must come back that next morning. And then that next evening, I was there. And he stood up and I watched him like 200 yards away. And I tried to make a beeline for him. I like ran to these grain bins. I was like,
you gotta do something.
Hey, you gotta make a move.
I was on a TikTok
You're
live.
so close, but not close enough.
I was on a TikTok live and I was like, oh my God, there he is. And I was like, I gotta end this. And I ended it and I grabbed I have a bog pod for my muzzleloader. First year I've ever had one, which if you don't have a bog pod for a muzzleloader, get one.
I don't.
Oh, dude.
You can use code WCB at blackovis.com for your new bog pod.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, dude. That's fucking sick.
I'm going to buy one tonight.
It's fucking sweet.
They are sweet. You can hold rock steady. But I grab my bog pod, I grab my muzzleloader, and I take off running through this basically the backyard of this old farmhouse that nobody lives in, running up to these grain bins, and I see this deer crossing, and he crosses the road. I'm like, oh.
Bitch.
I'm not going to shoot across the road onto the neighbor's property to shoot this deer.
Well, that would be illegal.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Could have.
So
we didn't.
I
Leave your
just
phone somewhere if you're going to do it.
Leave your phone in the bar.
Yeah. So I just let him go, and it was like a week and a half before I got him back on camera again. And I finally got him back on camera, and I had like a soft-sided redneck blind or something that I had to set up on this property. And I finally got him on camera one morning on this camera. I went back there that evening hoping he'd come out where he was. He didn't. He ended up showing up on the other side of the property. So I was like, oh, shit. The next night I went to the other side of the property. He showed up on the other side of the property.
Why do they do that shit?
Cat mouse.
Yeah, why do they do that?
And I'm like, oh, God.
They just
dang.
know.
And there's no food. I'm hunting over a hayfield at this point. Like,
This Buck's like, I'm not dying on TikTok live.
Yeah.
Fuck that
With
shit.
some douchebags on TikTok.
I ain't doing it.
the next night, so after we played cat and mouse 2 nights in a row, I go to sit in my redneck blind. It's on a 6-foot platform overlooking this hayfield. It's kind of like in this little saddle where these deer kind of come up and feed. And it was warmer in October and November. We had a shit ton of rain.
Yeah.
So the alfalfa was actually trying to green up through this hayfield. And these deer were just nibbling on these little tiny, like 1.5 inch tall alfalfa and just hay plants.
They just love it.
And they'd sit here in this little saddle. And then after it got dark, they'd cross over the saddle and go to the crop fields. So I was like, I set up this blind perfectly because I can see them doing this in this little saddle. And I'm sitting here and got deer piling out. I've got like 10, 15 does, little bucks out in front of me. It's like 5 minutes left of shooting light. I'm on a TikTok live. And TikTok, fuck TikTok. I know.
What?
Wait a minute.
What happened?
Is there a new king of TikTok coming?
What the fuck?
I know. I'm like, TikTok
Time to step up.
It's
Did
me,
you hear
bitch.
that algorithm?
TikTok is like
cutting you
my
down.
main platform, right? But like, fuck TikTok. So I'm sitting there on a TikTok live. I'm hunting this deer that I've been targeting all year, and I'm sitting there on TikTok live, just conversating, like waiting for deer to show up. There's deer out in front of me. I'm telling people what's going on. I'm like I'm not trying to engage with my phone like we talked about last time. Like I'm not moving my phone around showing people deer out in the
Thanks
field.
for the rose.
They're looking at me.
What a galaxy.
They're just looking at me. And I kind of was just like watching the deer out in the field a little bit. And then I look up and I see this buck step out from the corner, and he's coming out from around the cedar. And I look down at my phone and it's just black screened, which basically tells me that TikTok banned my live.
Oh, shit.
5 minutes before this deer steps out, and he comes, straight beeline towards me to like 150 yards. And I just.
Why? How do they ban? How do they just?
Yeah, what triggered the ban?
Dude, hey, and you mentioned
The
this
stock of-
earlier
the
about
stock of
how
my
they
muzzleloader?
do not allow.
That's my hate on TikTok.
They could see it.
The stock of my muzzleloader got me banned on TikTok
wood.
Live.
TikTok hates wood or composite. But that's my point. That's why I've always been kind of a pre-hater to TikTok, because it's like Instagram, you can watch a dude get stomped to death by a fucking elephant, but you can't see the stock of a muzzleloader.
Yeah, and muzzleloader's not even a real firearm.
Oh, but you can look at naked girls on there talking about how they ought to be respected for their minds.
Right,
on
right,
TikTok.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah.
You look at
I get
coochie,
it. I
but
get
you
it.
can't see the back.
I ain't never seen
But we all
those.
look. We all
Ever.
look.
Yeah, there's no coochie on my algorithm.
Yeah, you can't see the back 2/3 of a muzzleloader, but you can see a bunch of tits on TikTok.
That's my hate. That's my
But
hate.
you could see where somebody that is used to navigating the gray areas that has no real potential to be this, apex predator killer could get on TikTok and say, well, I'm kind of artistic, so I could do this and talk about this.
Yeah.
And it does kind of bring in that inclusion.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like with Kurt's, like the kind of cringy,
disagree with you.
the cringiness of TikTok that I feel you see is because we're trying to play the boundaries of what we can post on TikTok.
Constantly.
Yes. Yeah. That is true. Probably 60% of my take. The other 40% is there's a lot of forward arrogance I don't know. I don't really know my take. I guess a lot of forward arrogance on that 40% with no reason for it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to I could make
bravado,
examples.
is that what you mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
bravado is probably a good way.
You know what I think in my head? It's totally false.
Yeah, it's a lot of, and there's a lot of negativity. Like, oh fuck, I posted. Oh, let's just fucking pull it up as the example. And maybe there's not as much negative on it as I'm thinking there is.
No, there is. There is, man. And
well, I mean, on my personal. Well, how the hell do I even?
Do you want to hear my thought? It's totally false, but I think it's hilarious.
Absolutely, Doug. What's up?
It's like, I kill a lot of big bucks, but I can't show you because I'm on TikTok. It's like the guy in high school is like, I got a girlfriend in a different high school, but I can't show you it.
Dude, I totally
seen her.
And I think that's going to change.
Show it as long
I hope it does.
As long as you don't show blood and shit.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. From my perspective, y'all are following that pattern that's already out there. Lee Lakosky's already killed 40. Spook Span's already killed. You know, what's he got? 40 Boone and Crockett, 20 over 200.
Who the hell knows? I didn't do dirty like that.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Are you following that pattern? And is that what's pissing you off? Are you just like the guys that are at the camp next door that say, I'm going to kill a 200-inch deer and Realtree Road Trips is going to come feature me? Do we think that we are those guys? No. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is, and in response to what Doug's saying, I totally get it. It is a bunch of Chinese little rice, missiles sitting over there going, killing animals is bad.
I see.
When in America, really, we don't.
It's culture to a point.
Yeah, and that's what it is on TikTok. It's it's a Chinese value system,
right?
But what does that do for like me? Okay, I had $1 million to spend. I could go out there. I could probably get a pretty good deer with $1 million. I mean, any year.
Sure hope so.
But I'm saying, okay, what does it challenge me though? As a 54-year-old guy who really has no future in being that 200-inch killer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
TikTok opens up. Okay, do you have artistic talent? Can you articulate?
I see.
Can you be a content creator? And see, and what I'm seeing is, and why Jacobi, why Lee Ellis, why some of the other guys, name some guy, I don't know.
Man, I can't believe
when you get to the upper echelon, you can't even name them. But
I know what you're saying. Now I get it. Yeah.
Do you have that machismo that... I'm going to stand out from, because most guys that complain about TikTok and not being able, they're horn stars from my perspective.
Yeah.
They're the guys that think if I shoot on film this deer, this huge deer, and I get this picture and I put it on Facebook and that's me behind there. And dude, that is a complete diversion from what hunting used to be. Big
deer don't make you or your brand. I don't believe that. But I would ask, all right, now on this point, Zach, do you feel that we fall into that? Because I don't think so. Because I think we're probably the most open, honest brand in hunting. Because everything we've done has been petting the dog against the grain, against the fur. You're
shooting what you want to shoot.
We're shooting what we want to shoot. My hate on TikTok from the forward is not letting us show anything.
Yeah. Right. That's where the Chinese values, the Chinese ethics.
And I kind of get it when you look at it that way. And that's why it's like, all right, we just that's why we just post podcast clips or nothing with dead animals or whatever. But I feel like that's separate from the take on the perceived personalities on TikTok. Like, and there's a lot of conversation in there. I'm not hating on any of it. But it's probably the same hate we would get back from the TikTok community. But I feel like we're pretty open to it. Like, even though we don't have a lot of TikTok guys on yet, I've talked to Zach a lot. Like, you got to back me up on this. It's like, I've reached out to you, like, what guys from the platform should we have on? Like, who do you recommend? I've probably a handful of times
It's a hard question to answer.
But why?
Honestly,
why is it hard?
It wasn't you.
It's
he never said Tony once.
Like, okay, so I look at TikTok.
Why do you guys have a connection going on here?
It's like did you show up on my trail camera or my Pornhub page? I mean, which one is it?
Johnny, didn't I tell you though? Didn't I tell you?
Doug is like, yeah.
You guys are looking at each other's eyes, or they're all weird.
I knew he had a past life.
I told you you're gonna like Doug. I told you you're gonna like him. But didn't I? But Zach, have I not reached out to you like several times?
Personally, it is a hard question to answer.
But why? Why is it hard? Because that just falls into like maybe what Tony just painted on us. Because if it was easy.
Because it is hard to know what people are actually
up to
killing.
Because they can't show it.
Correct. But
also why though? Because to my point, everybody seems full of shit until you kind of learn them until they're not.
Yeah.
Right? Because it does kind of. So that's the way it almost has
TikTok
to come off.
is like people that are following me on TikTok. They're following my day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
That I do during season.
But that's still shit you can get on Instagram.
Yeah, but I don't post that on Instagram. I post it on TikTok. If you want to see what I killed, go to Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Right, but why can't you do both on Instagram?
Instagram sucks.
No, it doesn't. I think Instagram's the best, personally.
I mean, compared to TikTok, like I don't get the views on Instagram that I do on TikTok. And that's what pays. And that's what it doesn't matter to me, but it also does.
But does TikTok enable people who aren't necessarily as legit in the hunting game versus Instagram? They can show everything.
Yes.
And TikTok, they can kind of hide behind some of the
can you build that mystique with smoke and mirrors?
Yes.
I knew Doug was reading my mind.
And that's fair. That's a fair question.
On TikTok, because you don't have the ability to show, but can you hide behind the smoke and mirrors and say, I have the show, I just can't?
But
I'd love to show you, but I can't.
But
it's a good question.
It all plays out in the end.
But does it? Well, for now, it's playing out, but where's the end?
You can only fake it for so long.
That's true.
You can only fake it for so long.
I'd love to get some of those guys on the podcast, and we'll go 4 hours. And you know what'll happen? The truth comes out in a 4-hour conversation.
Just put it out there, guys.
mean,
just say what you're thinking.
Right? But is that I'm not hating, but it's a good question.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a confusing question.
It is. And that's just because that's how TikToks run, right? Like because you can't show stuff like that.
But is that why there's such a community of I don't know what to call the community.
Let me ask you this. Do you think if all these people had Instagram, would they have the following they have?
No.
Why?
But because the TikTok
fuck the algorithm. Fuck the algorithm.
Yeah.
Get to the root of it. Why?
Okay.
Because we don't have a TikTok algorithm that's as big as yours.
They can't back up the shit that they do.
Why?
Because they're just not good hunters.
Because they're not doing it.
Yeah, they're not doing it. They're not doing it right. And
so does that get to the point of me having reluctancy to?
Yes, 100%.
I'm apprehensive about the personalities until
100% until they prove themselves to some.
So
standard.
I'm not off kilter.
No.
So there's some people in here.
80% of TikTok hunting community is bullshit.
This is why we deem you the king of it. Look at we just came full circle.
Man,
am I
we just
right,
got
Tony?
to the root.
We worked really hard to get that out of him, but it came out.
We just got to the.
At least 50% of mine.
Okay, I'm gonna piss off a lot of fucking people here. But
what we did, but
finally
we did just get back to it, and one
clip it, and we're done.
All right, thanks for listening. Go shoot your butt.
CJ Alexander, you're next.
It's done.
Try us twice.
Bring your ass on this podcast. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So, all right.
Sounds like I need to get on TikTok.
I might be off kilter here, but last time you were on, we brought up a guy who says he shot a deer. And you didn't want to bring the guy's name up, which I respect. Okay. And it was up in the air, but you showed me trail cam picture, a giant deer.
I showed you an Instagram post of sheds from supposedly the deer that was shot.
Well, no, we need to talk about the first frontal story.
Okay.
And then, so we talked about a deer that a guy claimed he shot on private and it ran on public and then got stolen.
Yes.
And on air, I was like, let's get him on and get his fucking deer found, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we went after and talked about it on a live. And I thought I knew who it was, and then you confirmed afterwards the person. I don't really want to call them out by name unless we need to.
That's fine. We don't need to.
But then we get on the live,
respectfully.
and there's only a handful of people in the live. We're at the bar at WCB, and we talk about the deer, and I'm like, dude, I got a connection with all the pictures you have with Classic Racks Co. We can get you that exact rack for like minimal money for what the deer is worth and the effort and the heartache and the agony you have. And the guy was like, like kind of acting like I never even offered it. I'm like, if that was me, I'd be like, give me your contact and your resources. I want this fucking deer.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, somebody finds the sheds of this said killed and stolen buck.
So there's
hold on. There's a fucking red flag of flying. All
there's
of a sudden,
lot to the story, and
maybe I don't know that, but with
the tip up just happened.
But hold on, pause before you keep going. With the information I have, that seems like a big crock of clout chasing bullshit.
Absolutely,
all day. And when you see the guy going on TikTok Live, you're like, this dude's so full of shit.
I understand that 110%.
You got to give me that. Not knowing anything else from what I know, it seems like a full-blown fucking bullshit lie.
Yes. From your point of if I'm looking at your point of view,
yes,
I understand that.
Right, and he has to get it too.
Yes, and he does. I've talked to him personally about this.
Yeah,
and he does.
Because I would be willing to help him out and have him on here, but let's get this fucking deer found. That's bullshit.
Okay, so I was willing to.
I'm not hating on him.
No.
I'm hating on the situation.
I was
seems like bullshit.
In the process of getting a replica made. I was like this close to talking to getting it done.
Yeah. And
it just wasn't going to work out in time for the time frame that I wanted. For
shed season?
No. For when I wanted it to be done. It wasn't basically going to be possible. The time frame was too short. And then this wild card comes out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm in a Snapchat group, and a video gets sent to the Snapchat group. No one's replied to it. There's like 50 people in the Snapchat group.
Sounds terrible.
I'm the first one to reply to this Instagram post that's sent to this Snapchat group. And it's a video of this dude finding these sheds. And I'm looking at this video, and I'm like, that's the fucking deer.
Like, the deer that this kid said got stolen from him.
No fucking doubt. That's this fucking deer.
Be pretty obvious.
Lights come on. King of TikTok has a coattail rider.
Whoa! What?
I call this. I call him, and I wake him up. He was sleeping, and I was like, "Hey, get on the Snapchat group. Look at this." And he's like looking at this, half awake, right? Like I just woke him up. He's like, "What the fuck am I looking at right now?" And I'm like, "Those are the sheds off the deer that you shot." And he's like, "What?" So, backstory. I'm not going to say names. Okay.
CJ Alexander moment.
Where was this motherfucking
So this deer
phone?
was supposedly shot. From the story that I've gotten, and I believe this guy 110% to my
110% is a lot of percent.
That is a lot.
I have no
haven't
reason
seen that much.
I'd say 70. Give him a C minus at that.
I have no reason not to believe him.
Okay.
I mean,
none.
I've known him for
paint the picture, and we'll judge you after.
I've known him for
we'll come after you.
I've
when
known
you're
him for
done
3 or
telling
4 years. Okay, strictly over social media, I've known him for 3 or 4 years. Everything he's ever told me has been truthful. He's been one of my best buddies.
Good dude.
And he tells me the story. And, you know, he's got game board involved. He's got dog trackers involved. I've seen pictures of, you know, what he's saying is happening. So basically what happens is he hits this buck. He knows he's hunting this specific deer. He's got pictures of this deer. He's hunting this specific deer. He hits this buck, and he knows he hits it bad. He watches this deer run off 75, 85 yards away and lays down, but he can't get another shot. Like, any ethical hunter, like, okay, most of us in this room with a compound bow could probably shoot out to 85 yards somewhat accurately. If you've already hit a deer, you're launching an arrow no matter what.
Yeah.
Right?
If you can or cannot get a shot.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. From what I'm being told, there is no shot opportunity possible for where this deer walks to or runs to and lays down. After a couple hours, he watches this deer get up and kind of just hobbles away. Okay. He does the right thing. He backs out. He's going to go back in the next morning. He calls a dog tracker. He calls game warden because he's got pictures of this deer. He knows the size of this deer. And they go back in the next morning with this dog tracker. Admittedly, from what I'm being told, this dog tracker brought a brand new dog, a very young dog, to blood tracking on this track. They tracked this deer. I don't know many more details other than this, but they tracked this deer, and it comes up to the private public boundary. He was hunting on private. It crosses the boundary, and about 50 yards over the private public boundary onto public land, there's a gut pile, a pair of latex gloves, and a bloody knife laying right there.
They left the knife?
And drag marks back to the parking lot.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, where's the glove?
Yeah, what the hell? Son of a bitch gutted the deer.
So, at this point,
O.J.
Okay,
the weapon and everything.
What we got to remember is this is an estate that is highly, highly, highly pressured. Tons of hunters. Like, it's public land. Shit happens.
Okay, the deer's stolen. How'd it shed? How'd somebody find it shed antlers?
Okay, but yeah, this is the very, 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 very confusing part of it. So for months, we think this deer is stolen. We think that the dog got on this blood track and found this gut pile, and that this deer is stolen. This record.
So my question is, was the gut pile where he watched the deer bed?
No, I mean the deer got up and left.
Okay,
from where he watched it bed,
like a long ways.
Because he was 75 to 80 yards away from where this deer had bedded. He wasn't going to get out of the tree.
Yeah, right. Understand.
He waited until the deer got up and walked out of sight until he got down and it just left.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And this was day of story.
Tony's going to cut in here.
I'm fixing to defend Corey Smith.
Okay, you called him out by name. Okay.
Oh, Tony.
One time,
Hey, bleep that.
Tony.
Bleep
one
that.
time, early October, I was not prepared. I'm sitting there.
For the record, I wasn't going to call you out by name, Corey.
No, well, I mean, get in line behind Donnie Hansen if you're mad. I mean, what else you gonna do? But I'm fixing to defend you. I'm fixing to defend you. So chill. I mean, here it goes. I was sitting in the stand. It was early October. I was in Southern Illinois. I called him Skittles because he had a crow's foot on his right side. He walks up. He's 20 yards from me, maybe. I'm sitting there with a crossbow that I'd barely cocked because I was looking at the neighbor's fucking land is what I was doing. And this deer walks up and, he's a 160-inch, 4-year-old. And so I said, well, should I shoot him? Should I not? It's early season. It's the biggest deer I've ever seen, whatever. So I shoot him, and I hit him right in the breast, and it goes out like under his right leg. And he runs off to my right, his left. And the next morning, Randall Eastham and some other guys who did have permission to hunt the land that I was actually watching come in, and I told them, I said, look, I'm not poaching your ground or anything like that, but I shot this deer right in the corner, and I'd appreciate some help, recovering him. And we trailed this deer, and I mean, it's an actual blood trail, and we're trailing, and all of a sudden we come up on a gut pile. And I'm like, God damn it, man. Somebody found this deer that I had shot. It laid down. Obviously, somebody found my deer.
Yeah.
And then I get to looking, and I'm like, man, that deer's bigger. This gut pile's too small. That deer's bigger than what I'm seeing here.
Right.
And I got a picture of the deer on camera later that same year. So beyond a reasonable doubt,
plausible.
Yes.
I mean, if that situation happens and you walk up on a gut pile, That's the first thing that's coming to my head.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. Especially if you have a dog tracker following.
So there's three angles at play.
There's
three angles at play. His deer got stolen, but how'd the sheds get found? So it didn't get stolen. He hit it bad. It bedded. Someone else shot a deer by bad chance. He thought it did, and that deer lived, and then it shed and whatever. That's probably the most likely. Or he shot the wrong deer that he thought he did, and it was still a big deer, and he got excited in his emotions, and that deer got taken. He thought it was the big deer, and in all honesty, it wasn't. But the way that it was worded to me and the story I got to scream double red flag bullshit.
I totally understand
coattails. I mean, he's the king of TikTok's buddy.
Right. But he's never met him.
It's got to be.
But he's never met him.
I just met him today.
In person,
That's true. That's true. But all I'm saying is, there's four angles there. I hope that his deer didn't get stolen.
Well,
it clearly didn't because it shed. But
the deer he shot, in quotations, the deer he thought he shot, the deer he was in there hunting, the sheds were found off the deer. 110%. That deer's sheds that he was.
The deer lives.
He was confident that he shot.
That's what we do know.
Yeah.
I would say if he did shoot the deer he thought he shot, he didn't hit it like he hit it, and it lived. And he watched it bed. Yep.
And that's totally plausible. How many times have we?
I hope that's the truth.
Us as bow hunters hit a deer, and it was different than what we thought.
Oh. And I think this was because didn't he
all
do
the time?
I didn't see this, but didn't he do like a TikTok live of him like adrenaline dumping?
Oh,
pretty much.
There was a video of him just. I mean, absolute speechless and shaken.
Did he take it? Was it live or was it after the fact? I've seen guys, without calling names out.
So he's not one to do live.
He's not. Okay. I've seen guys do oh my God, I just shot the biggest buck of my life.
No. So this was.
And then go back to the regular motion.
Crying.
Yeah.
This was a video he took.
Another podcast did that.
He
I just killed a deer filter.
Yeah.
He took this video on Snapchat and then saved it to his phone and sent it to us. So I saw it seconds or minutes after it actually occurred.
Bottom line, I hope it's just what it is. He says what it is, and he believes that, because that'd be way better for hunters on TikTok.
If that's the case,
I want him in here to talk about it. If that's the case,
if that's the case, he has a really damn good chance of having that deer on camera again next year. If he lives,
it'd be the ultimate comeback story.
Oh, dude, that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm praying for.
That would be the best, because it'd make a sick ass interview.
I believe him.
Cut the clip. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I believe him 100% because I have no I have no reason not to believe him.
Yeah,
he's never given me a reason to not believe him in what he's told me.
I hear you. But when you were in here and I know that story, and then you text me that with no other context, and I go, oh,
yeah,
clearly full of shit.
No, there's a rat in the wood pile somewhere.
There's a rat in the wood pile.
And you've considered all four
So
potential.
did he put it out online that it got stolen?
Okay, so
well, no, he didn't want it too loud.
Okay,
he didn't want it found.
He never posted videos.
No, don't get it found. Don't put too much out there. I don't want it found. I don't want to.
What the hell are you doing? Trying to help me?
I don't want to.
He made a bad shot, and he was relieved when he found a gut pile that would allow him to claim that he didn't have to recover the deer.
I think Tony just hit the golden ticket right there. That might be
after everything happened.
Sorry,
and
Zach.
the
We
deer
keep
wasn't
cutting you off.
Possibly found.
Sorry, Zach.
It was shortly after that he had some personal issues going on in his life.
Yeah, listen, that sucks. I don't care about that because that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's besides the fact.
And that's where
hey, we all do.
That comes back into like
right now.
Why like the replica of a deer that he thought was stolen wasn't made.
Yeah, but could we not have figured that out? We could have figured that out.
Yeah, and we were trying to.
Easy.
And and it was just he's still going through the stuff that
I'm sympathetic to his life situation. I get it.
Yeah,
but we could at least got a hold of the company and been like, hey, can we get this done for this guy? And it doesn't have to be right now. Could be in a year. Let's get this done for him.
I was on the verge of doing it, man.
I know.
We're not doing it.
All I'm saying,
no. The deer lives. So,
but was I not, Zach, for the record? So I know he's going to hear this and he's going to fucking hate on me for saying what I've said. He might hate on Tony and then love Tony back and forth for what he did.
Yeah,
but did I not?
I'm used to it. I promise. I'm used to it.
Me too, dude. There's forums of Archery Talk hate on me.
Soul brother,
but did I not?
Especially a lawyer, you're probably used to it from that.
Oh,
Well, right.
shit. I
But
mean,
Zach-
I'm the bad guy when I send the bill and when we win.
But off air, when you were in here last time, did I not offer solutions to try and get this figured out for this
and
guy?
I did talk to him about that.
Yeah, I just hope he knows that.
Yes.
Doesn't go straight to hate on me for doing it.
And he had actually contacted them.
Oh, he did?
Personally.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
He
I did not know that.
Yes, he
because when I
did.
pitched it to him, he seemed like...
No, he did personally contact them and he got quotes.
Okay.
But with everything that was going on.
You know,
it was just
this
kinda
is
like,
TikTok drama that's going to get
Here's what I can see happening.
all that shit.
Like you said, let's say a giant buck he doesn't even know about comes in, and you don't even use binoculars. Like, oh, that's the giant, right?
It's very plausible.
I mean, I've done that. You're waiting on your giant.
Yeah,
like,
dude,
well,
like-
not your giant, but the buck you're after.
I mean,
and then
considering
another
the
buck
state-
comes out of nowhere, and you're like, holy shit, that's it. You don't look at the binoculars. Like, that's
Look,
him.
You see the frame,
Yeah,
you look down, you're
that's
looking at
him.
the hair,
Grab
you're
the
going to
bow,
shoot
grab
at.
the
No
bow,
way
shoot.
there's two deer like that
Right.
in
Well,
this
yeah,
area.
but
I mean, considering the state,
160,
the
No, I mean that's
170,
what you're
straight
thinking,
to
but
your
there
brain,
it
yeah.
can be.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't fucking know. I mean,
Yeah.
those deer are.
You're not taking vinyls out, counting inches.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
here's-
I mean, you haven't even seen the deer. So.
I haven't, but I'm sure it's fucking big.
It's an
from what
ultra.
we're hearing.
It's a big, but
Okay,
adrenaline
here's the
dump,
thing.
you might go, oh, fuck, it's him. And
Here's
then
the
not
thing.
look at him
Exactly.
again. Right.
Not even look at it.
In the beginning, I always had an ounce of doubt that the deer was ever even real. Okay,
Oh.
I'm gonna say this.
oh shit!
I
mean,
there was an ounce of doubt in my body that the deer was actually
But why-
ever even real.
From his word?
No, just because.
Well, who
clout
told you about the
clout
deer?
chasing. He
did.
realized.
But
he
why
might
would
be
you doubt his
coattailing.
word on the deer?
Because of the state and the size of the deer.
But
then.
But hold on, Zach. Because I feel like you're backpedaling a little bit. If you know this guy and you trust him, why would you doubt his word a little bit?
I get that.
Tony's planting bad seeds in my head.
Tony's over here backing up now. He's shit on him.
I get that.
Who invited
Tony's
this
doing
guy?
this.
He's everywhere.
The amount of trail camera photos that I've got of the deer.
Those trail cam photos were sick as fuck. The ones you
Yes,
showed me.
and the dates were correct.
I want to see him.
Oh yeah,
The
put them
dates
on
were
the
correct.
screen. I mean, it's all out
No,
there.
we're not going to do that. We're
Just
not,
bear
we're
it
not gonna do
all,
that.
man.
Put 'em on the big
'cause, I
screen.
mean,
Show me the
yes.
gut pile.
There wasn't. There was.
Pornhub.
we need the
there-
evidence.
Where's the knife?
I don't want to say there's. Okay, there wasn't an out. There was a thought
Where's the
of it.
knife? I'm sorry. We're getting out of hand here.
We
My
are.
bad. My bad.
There was a thought of like, okay, is this
Corey,
deer?
I'm sorry. Personally, I'm sorry on air.
Is this deer real? And now the answer's. The
Kind
answer's
of.
there.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's right.
The sheds have been found.
I know.
Like 100%. Those
Maybe.
are the sheds
Yeah.
in the trail.
The
camera
biggest fucking
photos.
kick in the balls is a guy posted them on TikTok, and it came across my algorithm, and I'm not on TikTok.
Hey, I got
And
a
I
fun
don't even
idea.
see Corey shit on my TikTok, and this dude, these sheds of him
Here-
going, holy fuck, this is the biggest set of sheds I've
mean,
ever found.
They're fucking massive.
They're big.
Corey, you got to come on now, man.
Dude, if you don't come on, Corey, I'm going to have the dude to find the
shit.
sheds on.
What if that guy?
Okay.
Wait till
So Corey-
Lakosky calls you dumb, Corey. Come on,
Corey,
man. You got to
Corey
get
was
on.
supposed to be
Tony
coming.
Washnock or Wingnut.
Oh shit, my life was in danger that evening.
Could have
right?
been.
Corey, I talked to Corey. So after your live that you did, and you were talking about a little bit of doubt that you had.
On my own?
No, you were in Jordan. You guys were
Jordan
talking
who?
to one
Jones.
of
I was on Jordan Jones
yeah.
live. Yeah, right,
Yep.
right.
There was, so we got sent a screen recording of that.
Okay.
And I talked to Corey that night, and I was like, okay, well, this is what's going on. And he was like, well, I mean, he's really invested in the stuff that's going on and with his life right now is just kind of like really, I mean, it's
He's going
major.
through personal shit. Let's just leave the guy alone.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm just right now, like he was supposed to be coming to the Classic this weekend, and what's going on is it's not possible. He's not coming anymore. And I was like, if you come, we're stopping in Illinois. And
Just bring Corey in here with you next time.
yeah, well, yeah, he's got to get here first. And he said he would do it, but it's just with what's going on right now, it's just it doesn't make sense for him to do it right now. Yes, he wants to find his deer, but there's more important stuff in his life going on.
Yeah, but this is getting cryptic, man. I mean,
it's getting weird, right?
Wait a minute. We don't know.
I have a new conspiracy theory.
Doug,
it's 100% bullshit. But what if that guy did steal his deer, cut off the horns, and then act like he found them?
There was thoughts about that too.
Holy shit!
And
dude.
we did.
I mean,
in the post,
we gotta end this fucking podcast.
I mean,
his phone was in the truck the whole time.
They're sheds. They are sheds. I can tell you 100%.
Doug and Tony are about to make out here.
We need to see the pedicle.
I should be on TikTok. I got this.
Yeah, we need some fucking.
All right, I'll send you
who
who found the sheds. Okay, you can set it up. They probably listen. They're probably listening to this right now.
I don't want any of it on. It ends here. It's just a fun conversation.
Okay,
Corey, I'm sorry. We had fun at your expense for a little bit, but it's justified. But if you want to come on, we'll have a TikTok BS. I think we should have a TikTok BS session.
Let's do it.
We should have a round table.
We should do TikTok live.
Who are the kings of the talk? I think Nimrod. I think Boutique. I think you. We'll get Corey in here. What is that? That fills the studio for the
just
first
get fucking
round.
weird.
Yeah, let's just do it, right?
That's all the air conditioning you
we
got
gotta
in
get Scott
here.
Letts in here too.
It gets a little hot.
A lot of hot air getting blown around.
Scotty Letts in here too.
Okay, yeah, we gotta get him in. We'll do 3 rounds. Madison's got to get in here. I don't know who else.
Should be good for a G2 podcast, I think.
Yeah, we already had talked about doing that.
Oh, cool.
The girls reached out to her about it. But I think that'd be fun. Like, I just don't want it to seem like I'm hating on all the TikTok people. I'm not.
No, I get it. Yeah,
it's just reluctancy for legitimacy.
Okay, well, what about the Black Panther though? If you want to, if you want to get into questionable legitimacy,
yeah, let's talk about the Black Panther.
Okay, so here's the reality of the Black Panther. I have never in my life seen a big cat. My daddy claimed from the time that we went camping when I was a little boy that screaming little noise in the woods was a cat. He came to hunt with me in Florida, said he heard a cat. Didn't believe him. Just felt like he was somewhat obsessed with obsessed with, there are cats out there. So he tells me he hears a cat in Florida on my ground. On that 160 I sold for $1 million, it got me the Illinois land. And so I go to my neighbor, I see him at Walmart, and I said, Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Not this Doug.
Way more legitimate
the other Doug. Well.
Questionable.
I mean, yeah, they're, one
all
you'll
Dougs
see
are
on
kind of
Facebook and one you'll see on
big
bullshitters. But yeah. Doug, I said, Doug, man, my dad swears he heard this cat, and in his defense, I was clearing land along this creek with this old tractor, and one day I was out there trying to bush hog and clear up. Next thing I see is this doe that's dead that's got scratch marks on her neck, like something was hanging off of her.
Yeah.
And he says, that's funny. He says, my brother shot a deer. I heard him shoot from the road or from the house, and it was Christmas. And he said, I went out the next day, and my brother said he couldn't find anything, and I'm trailing this blood trail. Sure enough, there's blood trail. And he says, I walk up on this pile. It's a pile of pine straw on top of a
shit.
Yeah, and there's antlers sticking out.
That's a cat for sure. They're burying it.
Yeah, and he says that he
that was pretty good.
He calls the co-op, the Florida not co-op, but the University of Florida has an ag extension agency or something. He says he calls them, and they say it's a cat. And I'm like, okay. Well, next thing, my dad's not allowed to kill this cat over in Georgia, but it keeps killing his chickens. And so he, quote unquote, finds it dead in his backyard, and it's sure enough, it's a cougar. man. I mean, it looks like a bulldog, you know, but kind of darker than a deer, but not terribly darker. So that's the whole experience I have with cats. I'm like, people are talking about these fucking cats and shit, and you know, but I've been out in the woods all my life or whatever. And one night I'm crawfishing in Florida, and something crosses the road in front of me, and it's got the red eyes, and I'm like, what is that? You know, and it goes on across the road, and I'm like, that could have been a big cat. No shit, that could have been. But it's 3 a.m. I've been fucking with little baby alligators and shit. So, you know, I mean, seriously, I mean, at 3 a.m, you know,
makes sense.
So this year, I get this picture. Hell, I've still got it, and it looks like a Black Panther along the river, but it looks like it doesn't have a tail. You can't tell if it's the tail or the back leg. And it's got like this funny looking head on it and all this, and I'm like, dude, that looks like it looks like something, like some kind of crazy looking cat. So one morning I'm hunting in Florida, and it's a light snow, a real heavy frost, and I'm watching out, and it's not quite daylight yet, and I'm looking, and I think I see a fawn walking across the edge of the river, like along the tall grass along the field edge. And I think, you know, okay, that's pretty cool. You know, it's something to look at. I don't have my binoculars or anything yet. Mm-hmm. And so I go to raise the window, and as I do, I'm like, that's not a fawn. It's not walking like a deer. It's walking like a fox or something like that. You know?
More like fluid movement.
Predator.
Yeah. So I'm like, in my mind, I go, oh, that's that coyote that I seen chasing those turkeys right there in that food plot, that Lee and Tiffany food plot. You know, that's
the
what
one you
I'm thinking.
hate.
Yeah, fuck. You know, the turkeys even like the food plot. You know,
that damn fucking food plot down there.
Yeah, I mean, god damn it, I don't even like to sit here. So, so I'm watching. And I get the crossbow up, the Raven, and I put it up there, and I get the binoculars, and I look, and dude, it's a jet black fucking cat, no shit, with a tail at least this fucking long, and it turns and goes into the grass right there at the river. And I'm like, what the hell did I just see?
Holy shit.
I didn't think a whole lot about it. I mean, dude, I spend a lot of time.
Do you think your eyes were fucking with you at first?
The time I was like, you know, it's early in the morning, you know, but no.
Yeah, you know what you saw.
I thought it was a cougar, and it had just crossed that river, and its hair was matted down, so it looked black.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, and I'm like,
Florida Panthers is a thing, right?
Yeah, but I mean, this is in Illinois.
Oh, it's in Illinois.
Shit. I thought you were still in Florida.
No. Oh, goddamn. I'm a terrible storyteller.
I thought you were.
You're pretty good. I just had the location mixed up.
I thought you were talking
Tanner from fucking Whitetail Bridle, Illinois. Fucking Cougar.
Oh, I was thinking like Florida Panther shit.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were in Florida as well.
Well, no, my dad and the cat and the deer.
That was in Florida.
Yes, and the pine straw and
okay.
All that
I'm thinking
was in
you're
Florida.
still in Florida.
Yeah, and then you said your dad heard one in Florida. So I'm thinking you're still in Florida.
And my dad found one dead in South Georgia. So I knew he knew what a big cat was. And so that's when I realized, okay, these things are real. So let's see the...
Wow.
Because they're not very common in Florida, but they have them down there, right?
They're not
like panthers.
Oh yeah, Florida Panthers a real thing. I mean, there's not a whole lot of them, but they're in South Georgia and in Florida, and that's
and
what
a panther
was
to a
found
mountain
there.
lion cougar it's the same thing, just coloration.
Yes,
right.
And so that day, I get on TikTok and I'm like, y'all, I don't know what it is that I saw, but it looked like a big black cat, you know, going in this thing. And this guy sends me this picture, and I'm like, God damn, that is a Black Panther. That is a picture of a fucking Black Panther. The thing nobody has ever seen that doesn't exist, that is a picture of a fucking Black Panther.
But in North America, like the only places that
in Kentucky.
But the only places that Panthers are Florida, right?
No,
Florida, Georgia, like the Black Panther.
So apparently,
but I mean, in general,
So
in general,
an actual Black Panther would be like a melanistic mountain lion.
Yes, which
doesn't occur in the wild. It's a bred thing.
Okay.
That's in captivity.
So it's just got out.
Yeah.
Or
that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is a cougar population in the next county over.
But I mean, look, all the time we hear about mountain lions in Iowa.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're coming from South Dakota or Nebraska or Colorado. Like, what's to say someone in Texas didn't let go of their fucking Black Panther that they had in Texas and it just ended up traveling to fucking Florida?
Right. We get a fucking bear come through every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's true. Big ones too, which is like not little ones.
It's the same landmass. Like that thing can go wherever the fuck it wants.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, nobody's fencing this thing in.
Hell no.
Yeah. But you know, my perspective was, okay, there are mountain lions in this area, and I had heard a big cat in Hamilton County and Dale around McLeansboro. Mm-hmm. But this year, that freaking cat I saw, that big cat, was jet black.
That's crazy. I believe you. I mean, I don't know. Cats.
Well, I mean,
cats,
they're
you don't
captivity.
you don't see cats anyway. Like,
no.
I killed a mountain lion in Wyoming. They're all over. You don't see them unless you have a dog that pins you up one. And
they stay in the thicket.
Yeah.
I mean, they do not come out in the fields. And
Southern Illinois too gets a lot of weird shit because Southern Illinois is a long state. People forget that.
Well,
like,
what are you going to see
Southern Illinois is
easier?
a different state than where we're at right here.
Southern Illinois and Northern Illinois, two different regions. You've
Totally
got
different.
the Boston Mountains that run through like Oklahoma and Missouri and Arkansas and all the way through Illinois, Kentucky, going there. But then it flattens out. And that's why I drove to Viola. I was like, okay, this is like McLeansboro. This is like Hamilton County. It's relatively flat. It's farmland. Down around Saline and going up against the Shawnee National Forest, that's a completely different topography.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And if there was a cat, and there are known Black Panthers or pumas or leopards or whatever
the hell you wanna
in
call 'em.
Mexico. Yeah, whatever you. I mean, I'm no cat expert. You know, if it ain't found in your
Jaguar?
mama's panties, I don't know what kind of cat it is.
Yeah, cougars, man. We're just into cougars. Slut ass cougars.
Yeah, don't put that on TikTok. But yeah.
I accidentally clipped it.
Clip it.
Corey Smith's like got it all over his page.
He's like, you motherfuckers.
Love you, Corey.
Sorry, Corey. Sorry. This is about a good time right now. We're having a good time.
We're having a great
a
time.
really good time.
I think what we know, it's time to go to the depot and get some food.
Let's do that.
Before they shut us down. Talk about a good fucking time. That's what we had tonight, I feel like.
This was
man.
did I not tell you this was going to be a blast?
Oh, you did, man. And for my first, podcast,
you were second guessing like what is this guy talking about?
right?
And
But
then
these
I
are
was like,
professionals.
trust
I mean,
me,
these
dude.
guys
Like,
are plowing the
this
field.
is like
you know?
this is the podcast to do if you're going to do it.
We'll get you where
I've
and
been
when to
And
go.
I'm
watching you
so
on
glad
TikTok
that you
too
came
long
up
not
here
to
and that we
trust you.
did it. And it's just like this was the best time.
Yeah,
ever.
this is brotherhood. If this isn't friendship, I don't fucking want it.
Well, thank you, man.
Thank you.
That was very nice of you.
That's why we've done what we've done with the experience of it. And it's not just, we don't want to do just Zoom calls.
Yeah.
It seems very, it's just too surface level.
Well, okay,
that
so
way.
you were really skeptical. Like, I'm going to go to the western central Illinois to go to a podcast. When like the furthest north you really go is to southern Illinois. You were really skeptical. I was like, Tony, you got to do this. So, like the in studio podcast experience is it. Like this is it to do it, and you're like, all right, you trusted me, and well. What do you say?
For a young man, you've got good counsel.
This is it, man. I've been listening to this thing for, 2017, 2018, and this is a real fucking deal. So, if anybody's ever fucking doubted it, that's listening. I
appreciate that.
Thanks, Zach.
These guys are humble as
making us
shit, but
blush.
this is it. I'm living a dream right now. So,
Zach, you're killing it, dude. You're the king of TikTok, brother.
King of TikTok.
Right here in the studio.
We're gonna make everyone else on TikTok hate.
I'm already the most hated on TikTok.
That's why you're the king.
Yeah, but not by your people.
Everybody hates the king.
Not by your people. Well, all right. So everyone listen on TikTok. Zach's gonna create 2 councils of podcasts this before fall. We have to get on that, otherwise we're gonna book up because we're doing them all in person. So you gotta gather. There's your seats. You got 1, 2, 3 for sure, but we can double up on 1, so we can do 4.
So
we'll kick Eric out. He doesn't do TikTok.
3 plus me, so 4.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or 2.
I know what's going on right now.
You can pick 3. All right, you can pick 3. We'll make it. We'll
3
make
plus me.
We'll make 3 work.
We can double up.
Yeah, we'll kick Eric out for 1 since he hates everybody on TikTok anyway.
He doesn't have TikTok.
I don't have TikTok to hate anyone on TikTok.
Eric might be the nicest guy on this podcast.
I don't even have a gun.
I don't have a gun. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So that's up to Zach. I'll let you be the guy in charge. You let me know when they're ready. We'll find a date. How's that?
All right.
You got 2 podcasts. You can make 2 out of it for the year, just with scheduling.
I got some thinking to do.
We need the best of the best.
Okay.
All right.
And listen, if you don't pick them, someone else who doesn't get picked is going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you got to wear a crown next time you're in here.
You're
Burger King
You're the
crown.
captain of the team.
You got to give me a little
All-stars.
bit of grace here because, I'm going to pick people from my community. So
That's fine.
That's fine. Bring him in.
all right.
They better not suck.
Well, I brought Tony in here, so it's like.
Tony's pretty sick. Okay.
Tony's so cool, I might actually check his page out.
I mean,
You might.
we're going to
You might.
Why
I might forget.
Why did you guys get along so good this whole episode? I did tell you like Doug.
Oh yeah,
We're best friends.
Everybody, Eric too.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Here's
okay.
the thing. All you got to do
Tony,
is
pull that mic
watch
to you.
All you got to do is watch me for 5 seconds, and you actually contribute towards a child with cancer's dream
like a
buck
piece of
hunt.
shit.
Yeah, watch it.
Gee.
God damn, now I got to go watch it.
now I
Now I got to download TikTok just to fucking watch it. Not because you made me feel like shit.
Where you been, Eric?
Made me feel like a shitbag over here.
Okay, let's start doing we do round table closeouts. We're gonna start with Doug because Doug's
I said my piece.
what?
Nah, thanks for coming.
I love you, Doug. Thanks, buddy.
See you this weekend. Maybe you. No, we won't see you this weekend, will we?
He's thinking it.
You might as well stick
Got a
around.
kid getting married. Leave the guy alone.
Yeah,
I'm
in
gonna-
a month.
People get
Let
married
me-
all the time.
Let me go get the Restore, the thing that makes your hangover less.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how.
I'm gonna reach out to them as a sponsor.
Days.
We're gonna see.
Dude.
We need that. for sure.
WCB is brought to you by Restore.
They should be. Yeah,
Get
them and
restored.
Grizzly should be our title partner together. Tony, what'd you think? We took your podcast virginity.
Yeah, man. I mean, my legs are spread, dude. I mean, it's like, the next dude, I'm a grudge fuck, I guess. Is what
Well, I can promise you the next podcast I get asked to do is not going to be this. So I hope that there's many more in the future. Of
Yeah,
what
dude.
we
Oh
just
yeah, you got to come
Yeah,
back.
You got to come back.
Grudge fuck is hilarious.
So aggressive.
anytime,
so
man.
good.
I mean, the way I think that this all played out is we as men and as hunters, we drew together.
Totally.
And I mean, whether it's gator hunting out of a fan boat in the South or whether it's hunting, monster bucks that I literally had a fever dream about deer with what I thought were bushes on their heads when I was young, and I'm looking at them on your wall. I never knew that existed, and realistically, I mean, it's about. I don't want to make it minimal, but it's about the brotherhood. It's about that DNA we all share to hunt, eat, and survive, and the people that depend upon us. And whether it's you get to select the apex buck of the area or whether you're just hunting a doe in order to sustain your family, we're all in it together. And I think that's awesome, man. And for my cherry to get popped on, the podcast here, I just appreciate it, guys. I appreciate you having somebody like me, kind of a Jed Clampett of deer hunting to come on and just, fellowship with you guys and hang out with you guys. And there is a lot that I look for from this guy in the future, the king of TikTok.
King of TikTok, man. Well, we appreciate you coming in and making the effort to be here in person. It means a lot. It really does. And I had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. This is, as a lifelong, as a WCB lifelong listener, I guess I could say.
That is true, man. You have been a hardcore supporter of ours, and we appreciate it a ton.
Well, you're welcome.
I feel like we were too hard on you the first episode, man. I feel guilty more and more about it.
No, you're fine. It's shaped me into what I am today. So, you guys really helped me out. You guys opened up my eyes to things that I could change and directions that I could go. And
Dude, not that we know what the fuck we're doing. We're just guessing. Don't paint that on us.
Even if you
did that?
If you could say it was criticism, that planted a seed in my mind to change, how I approach things. And as a lifelong listener of WCB, this is probably one of the favorite podcasts I've sat in on. I've only done 3, but this is one of the best episodes that
This is the top 3 of Zach Jacobi.
This is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank.
I appreciate you guys so much. I can't wait to this weekend. This weekend's going to be fun.
I'm scared for this weekend.
Dude, it's going to be so fun.
It's our 10-year anniversary. We're going to be at the Iowa Deer Classic in the same week.
Oh,
scary.
Basically home show.
So now you gotta come.
Oh shit, that's what I'm thinking. I know this guy's gonna be there.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be somewhere.
We're gonna need those regenerative
You might
pills.
find me, you might not.
You might find me. You might.
Doug's gonna be there.
Yeah, Doug will be there.
I'll be there.
Doug will be there. He'd be all over
Doug's
there.
mustache will just be wet for some reason.
The whole time.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow. Doug
It's
will
always
be
wet
there.
when you need it.
It's just Doug drips essential oils into it for no reason
at all times.
Well, you got to a lifetime of mustache wax, right? Because
Yeah, we actually
didn't sell
ran
very
out.
well.
I just sold it all.
until insurance made us take it down.
I don't even have any now. It's all gone.
Hey, Eric, what do you got?
No, thank you guys for coming. Tony, thanks for flying up or driving up. I don't know what the hell you did, but and Zach, thanks again for coming, man.
Thank you.
Already said all my thank yous. I appreciate you boys. This was a ton of fun.
Ton of fun.
You know what to do. Go shoot your bow. We love you. Peace.